Welcome back to Imperial Order, everybody. I am your host, Martino, and today we're going to be talking about something just to keep the show alive, because Jose brought it to my attention the other day that we haven't done an Imperial Order in a very, very long time, and I feel like it's time to bring it back and to keep this fucking show alive, and I'm so excited to talk with these boys today. First of all, with me is Mr. Jose Espinel. What's going on, Jose?
What's up, man? I'm doing pretty good. Just got a fresh new tattoo, so
Oh yeah,
that's pretty exciting.
Well, tell the folks about it. Don't just sit pussy
Yeah,
back.
so it's and hold it closer to the screen so you guys can see, but it basically stands for that I'm greater than my lows and highs because I have type 1 diabetes. I thought I'd get a meaningful tattoo that's near and dear to me. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
It's my first ever tattoo, and let me just say it wasn't really painful. I mean, I was kind of just sat there talking to the artist while she was just marking me up. So
Well, while you were out there getting your first ever tattoo, Dave was out there saying he was going to get on his first ever Imperial Order, and we're happy to have him here today. Mr. David Tresch making his Imperial Order debut. What's going on, Dave?
Thank you, guys. I gotta say, I think I am more prepared for the show than anything else I've ever done in my life.
I agree.
Last night I played Battlefront 2 for several hours, killing many younglings. That's a new hack they put in the game. I love killing younglings. Also got a lot of messages of people trying to DDoS me because I'm just that good on Battlefront 2. Don't believe me? Hit me up in the comments. Let's play. You're probably trash. As you can see, I obviously got this beautiful red LEDs on my red mic right here. And more importantly, this morning, I started off the day by waking up at 5 a.m. and making my way to Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars land, if you will, over... There we go, Jose.
Oh, crap.
Star Wars land, if you will, over at Hollywood Studios Disney World. I give the world overall an 8 out of 10. I'm very, very critical of these things, so that's actually a really good score. It was absolutely freaking awesome, guys. I had blue milk. Dom, I'm going to send you the video. I know you haven't seen it yet. We tried the blue milk. I hate that movie with a passion, but blue milk is damn good. Now I know why Luke likes it straight out of the alien's titty.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
It was great stuff.
I saw your story about it.
Yeah, and they have it frozen and with rum, and it was really good. We tried the frozen one and with rum. Great. Blue milk. Got to get it. Absolutely amazing. Rise of the Resistance is one of the most immersive experiences I've ever been on in my life. The only one better is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Velocicoaster. Hate to break it to you guys. Smuggler's Run was absolutely freaking amazing. Have you guys heard about the Smuggler's Run ride, guys?
I have heard about it, yes.
I have. Freaking awesome. You get to fly the Millennium Falcon. There's 2 pilots, there's 2 gunners, and 2 engineers. I'm not going to lie, the pilots was obviously a mom who's never even seen Star Wars in her life and like an 8-year-old kid, and that motherfucker was not flying us, he was driving us. We never lifted off the fucking ground. That kid had us on the ground the entire fucking time, so it was real bumpy for us, but I was a gunner.
Nice.
And I don't miss, so we pulled through.
That's one of the main reasons it's one of the main reasons why I want to go to Galaxy's Edge, just for that ride in particular.
So
yeah, me and Jose will throw hands to become pilots on that ride.
Oh, 100%. We will. We'll knock anyone out.
So Dave went to Galaxy's Edge. I just want to reiterate that for the audience because Jose either bumped his mic or farted while you were talking, but I couldn't tell. But look, I have been to Galaxy's Edge myself on VR. So I got questions for you. I got questions for you. No, fair enough. I'm not as cool as you, but I do have questions for you. So number one, the Galaxy's Edge it's Bateau, right? That's the Galaxy's Edge, right? And it is canon, folks. They made like several books on Galaxy's Edge. Don't ask me why. Is there anything about the tour, the travel of Galaxy's Edge that you could tell that kind of dove into the history of Galaxy's Edge itself? This is a question I'm asking you based on the VR game, honestly.
I have not played the VR game. I know very little about the world itself. I will say the transition is pretty goddamn seamless, though.
Yeah.
I mean, as you kind of it like slowly transitions into like a kind of caved in tunnel system, and that just kind of leads you into this beautiful mountainous rocky area, water everywhere. And then before you know it, you're at the markets. Anyone that doesn't know about the Galaxy's Edge, the next best thing to compare it to would be like kind of like, we'll call it downtown of Jakku in The Force Awakens when they're at the market. It's got some really interesting architecture. Actually, almost reminds me of Aladdin. a lot of like marketplaces and whatnot. Why the Millennium Falcon was there at that time, I actually don't know. That's
that I had that question for you because it's in the game too. It's in the game where you're looking out the window and the Falcon's just sitting there. I was like, what the hell was Han doing? I guess I got to get the book. I guess.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing is on the ride. Interesting enough, you don't talk to Han or anyone. I don't know if they did that just for immersion reasons or if it's part of the story. But the only one you talk to is it seems as though on the ride itself, you know, you're bartering for the Millennium Falcon to borrow it for this mission. It's just Chewie that pulls into the bank.
Huh. Interesting.
It's just Chewie. Yeah, the guy that your guide is basically trying to get you this job because you're just like a higher on staff for smuggling missions. Just kind of barters with Chewie on the spot to borrow the Falcon in exchange for supplies, and he's there alone. So that's kind of interesting. That dives into the story. Why is Chewie there alone?
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I would imagine maybe it takes place circa Mandalorian age. I don't know. I'm assuming because it has to because it's before Force Awakens. Because I know in the game, in the VR game, is it not Conja Club? Han and Force Awakens, there's two people that are after him because he didn't pay them the money. One of them is Conja Club, and I can't remember the name of the other. This Fazian Death Gang or something like that.
Suvat.
Something Death Gang is going after Han in Force Awakens, and that's actually who you're pretty much shooting at the whole time in the game. So I'm assuming it's before Force Awakens, between Mandalorian and Force Awakens. So I don't know. I don't have any theories on why Chewie would be there by himself. But the Falcon is definitely at Galaxy's Edge, both in the theme park and in the game. So that's very interesting. Too. I'm sure it is.
For the ride, it's you actually like walk into the Falcon. They have several models of it, so that like it's not like the one Falcon that you see outside, but it's a building, and on the inside they've nailed the Falcon perfectly. Yeah. I mean, you could basically walk the full ring of it. And you get right into the cockpit. It felt just like being in the cockpit.
They don't let you get inside in the game, which is interesting. You figure that'd be one thing they would have put expenses into is for you to get inside
to get into the damn
Falcon.
Ship.
You can see the outside of it. You can't walk up to it. It's out a window far away. So I think like out the window that you're looking at is pretty much like what you walk through during the theme park. I think that's kind of what you're looking at out this window in the beginning of the game. And at the end of the game. At the end of the game, the reason I asked you about the history, and I guess it's not really Bateau's history, but it kind of is. I don't know. But you go up to this bartender at the end of the game, and if you collect all his plants throughout the game or something, he makes you a drink. And you take this drink, and then you listen to his story. And his story, he starts to tell you all this history about, pretty much it takes place in like old Republic times. Because Yoda's there and he's training you, and then you get to like play as this like Jedi from back then. It's a really cool side mission.
Shit, I gotta play this. This sounds awesome.
You got to get the game. Yeah,
I've seen like little snippets of it, but the commercials do not do it justice for everything you just said.
It's fun. It's a fun game, man, and they've added on to it over time. They've definitely added more missions. There's one where you get to go through the Death Star and shoot up stormtroopers and stuff, and I haven't gotten to that yet because I had the game beat. And then once you get the game beat, you can go to the side missions. But I let my little nephew play it when he was here, and he overrided my entire thing. So I'm going back through it to try to get to all the stuff that they built onto it since.
That's it, dumb nephew. We're coming for you. How dare you override his progress?
I was kind of upset. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. But yeah, no,
man, my brothers would kick my ass growing up for that.
Yeah. So now I got to get back there, and the game actually gives me genuine anxiety because like it's honestly one of those games where you don't know what's going to come up behind you, so you're constantly looking around. So it's taking me time. I'm kind of inching ever so closely to the end. The first time you play through it, it's not as bad, but when you play through it again, you're kind of, I don't know, I've been feeling anxious with it because I don't know if one of these red dudes is going to come up and choke me out or something behind me. I don't know, but it's
by
fun.
The way, 3 times I got yelled at Galaxy's Edge.
You
3 times today. The first one, it was, for the whole mission of Rise of the Resistance, you're captured by the First Order, and the Resistance is trying to bail you out.
Yeah.
And when you're captured, they have like the actual employees there. They're on full character. They told us a bunch of stuff. Look down at the floor. Don't look at us. Look at your color on the floor. That's important. You're going to need it for later. All you prisoners need to keep your belongings. And after all this, she says, Does anyone have any questions? And I said, what's your favorite color? And she goes, how's that relevant? And I said, you never said it had to be relevant, idiot. And then
Oh
she was
wow.
fucking pissed, dude. She was pissed. Great in character. She was like rough, dude. She was giving me this. She did not break. She gave me the sternest smile ever. The second time I didn't get yelled at, but I sold out one of my buddies, Nick, and I was telling the stormtroopers coming by, this guy's a smuggler. He has no respect for the rule of law around here. You guys should bust him. And he was like, what the hell? Why are you selling me out? But and then the third time the employee was actually yelling at me. When you're doing the smuggler's run, there's buttons that you're supposed to hit for your job. And there was two employees. The first employee tells us, the engineer, especially if any of your buttons light up, just be sure to hit them as soon as they light up. It's going to help you guys out. And she's telling us about buttons that light up and you want to hit them. The first thing I do when I get into the cockpit is sit down, put on my seatbelt, and there's a button flashing, so I hit it. And then that employee started yelling at me, not yet. And I was like, well, then you should fucking say something, bro. You can't put a flashing light next to a button right in front of my face and not expect me to fucking hit that when the lady out there is telling me to hit flashing buttons.
Exactly.
But yeah, that employee was legitimately pissed. Y'all got to get your shit together on that end. But overall, great place. I think there's a little bit of wasted potential with the vastness of Star Wars as a universe, and it's really just centered around the sequels. And
Yeah,
they were supposed to do a thing where they revamped a lot of it and actually based and rethemed a lot of it around the Mandalorian, which would have been really cool. And I could see where they actually like literally started to do that around the parks and just never finished it. But overall was great. For being only the sequels, it's very well themed, and all the staff there, including the stormtroopers and Kylo Ren on the street, do a killer job of immersing you in like actually being fucking worried.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's why I was like, the game, it takes you back into a flashback into like the old Republic times. They should do something like that or have rides like that, at least to where there's more, it's a little bit more expansive in that way. Because I kind of agreed. I haven't been. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's a great park, but I haven't been, and I always kind of agreed, like, why are they just focusing on this one area of this very vast galaxy in the building of the theme park? But it's one of those things I'm sure I just have to go and experience to like really have the fun. But that was kind of one of my concerns.
Down.
For sure, because I would love to go, and I think I would probably nerd out. I would love to go on the Millennium Falcon. You know what I mean? Like that would be
It's killer, man.
that'd be
I mean,
incredible.
I already have I already have my date planned, so you just have to try and make it the same time I do.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure, man. And today and actually all week I've been going back through a lot of Star Wars content because I have that kind of time now, and honestly, just been having fun doing that. And so I was like, this is the perfect time for me to do like an Imperial Order. And then like I was talking to Sammy the other day. We got a show coming out with her as well this week. So look out for that, guys, on Movie Mornings. And she was telling me she's finally going through the Clone Wars. Finally. And she's really enjoying herself. So it just got me super kind of stoked to like go back through a lot of different content and just kind of look at the things that are coming out. And I've just become more and more excited. So I did want to know what you guys are feeling about Andor at this point. Do you think Andor is going to like crush or where you at? Or are you still dubious? Either one of you can answer that.
Oh, well, I mean, Dom, I remember you and I having a conversation about this. Rewatching the trailer, thinking, I think that this show is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
I think it has really high potential to be one of the best, shows that Disney has done for Star Wars. I honestly, I'd have to watch it, but I still don't think that it'll be better than Mandalorian. But I can kind of see where you think that. I'll just have to wait till the show comes on. I watched the entire show, and I'll have to keep watching it a couple of times. Once all the episodes are out, watch it. From first episode to last, and really see and ponder. But I do honestly think that this will be one of the best Star Wars shows that Disney comes out with. So
yeah. Well, the three of us kind of had a conversation the other day where we were talking about there's something about these last two. I mean, especially with Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, where we're just not hitting 100%. Like, I feel like Star Wars can only tip the scale one way or the other, like, and never just meet right in that good balance where everybody's just kind of thrilled. And I think Andor is going to get there. And a lot of the reason why is because, to me, when I watch the trailer, it's the it's literally the Aftermath trilogy come to life. I think when I'm reading the Aftermath trilogy, I was like, if these were films, they would be fantastic. Like everybody would be on board, like so on board. Or if these were a series, not even just films, because there's so much detail in those things that you have to make it a series, if anything. But I'm just like, if these came to life, that'd be the perfect balance. And when I watched the Andor trailer, it's a different time period than the Aftermath novels, granted, because the Aftermath novels lead into the Battle of Jakku, and you kind of learn about why Rey's planet looks the way it does after reading that. It leads into a lot of that. So it's in that time period where Andor is before even the rebellion a little bit, like, or in the beginnings of the rebellion. I'm still watching that trailer, thinking back to those books. I'm like, the politics, the story, the expansiveness, it all feels just like those Aftermath novels. And the fact that there are 12 episodes per season, or so far, that's the word. That gives me a lot of hope that they are going to make something very expansive and kind of along the lines of something I would like a lot more. I don't know, Dave, where you at with it?
Yeah, as we just said, I think Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett on some level definitely missed. We all agree on that. In terms of the direction and everything, and just what we've gotten lately, I'm obviously not too excited.
Right.
But I also feel like if something's gonna hit big and really cross the lines and something that we can all enjoy, it's definitely going to be Andor. I mean, the movie we're initially introduced to him, Rogue One, is one of those movies that everybody loved. I don't know anyone that dislikes Rogue One.
Sure.
In fact, as you guys know, it was about the time that I joined the podcast that I actually finally watched Rogue One, because I saw it when it released, and I saw it. I was working like full time overtime. I was in high school. And then I passed out in the movie theater because I was so tired. So I woke up to just Darth Vader murdering everybody. But when I just went back and rewatched it a few months ago and actually watched it in its fullness, I freaking loved it. The only thing I am worried about character-wise for Cassian Andor is the fact that he does start off, even in the Rogue One movie, as a pretty damn cold spy. And then he grows on us a lot. So given the fact that this is obviously a prequel to Rogue One, I am a bit worried about how they're going to make him likable to us, given the fact that he did, like, right away in Rogue One, kind of seem like an asshole. I mean, he kind of did what he had to do, but it was, like, not the most likable guy right off the bat. I was like, what? He just fucking murdered that dude.
It's a good point. I think I don't think we're going to start with Cassian as likable as you might think, though. If they are going to follow canonically his kind of story, because really Cassian, he was a separatist. I mean, if you read the Rogue One novel that's in there, he was a separatist. So he started out not one of what's been painted to us as a good guy, right? But I think we've seen so many shows over the course of time build anti-heroes really, really well. And I think that's what we can do with Cassian. He could be, it's a completely different type of character, but the Tony Soprano type, where he's this anti-hero, but like there's still enough there for us to latch on and want to see what happens to him. Like, because we're looking at it through the lens, hopefully, of his side of things, I guess, or just a little bit more of his kind of take on things, and the fact that if you can make him this sort of anti-hero who doesn't really have much of a choice because of the cards he's been dealt, then I think you could really build to the point, at least, that we see him in Rogue One, and we're just so much more understanding of everything about him by the time we get to Rogue One, or by the time we rewatch Rogue One once this whole series is said and done with. I think that a lot of the show, it's going to be very, hopefully, very Game of Thrones, like those Aftermath novels played to me, because you got a lot of the inside politics and the betrayals and things like that. And that's kind of how this trailer reads to me, is like, that's kind of what we're seeing. Like, there's really not a lot of good or bad in here. There's just kind of gray, and everybody's going to be playing the game. I mean, look at the state. We know the state that the rebellion's in at this time. And if we're going to be dealing with these very political figures within this time period, I mean, Saw Gerrera is going to be in the show. He's not a political figure. Well, he is for sure. Like, but not as high as, say, like in the ranks as Mon Mothma, but he's still Saw Gerrera. We know from Rogue One, Clone Wars, Rebels, anything we've seen Saw Gerrera in, he's playing the game, man. And if those are the types of characters we can follow, I don't think I don't think there is going to be a good guy, bad guy. I think there's just going to be a bunch of people who've been dealt these cards and have to play with the hands that they're dealt. Yeah.
And working and operating within the gray and the anti-hero angle, I think that's the right angle to go for. And that's what I mean is I don't think he shouldn't be a good guy that we love. He shouldn't be a bad guy either. He should really be in the gray. I'm just hoping that they actually know to go for that angle again, because there's pretty damn obvious choices that should have been made in Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett that were not made. So that's where I question it.
That's the big that's the big if, I guess, because you do have, you're right, 2 other shows. I mean, Boba Fett should have been more gray when he was a good guy. I mean, that's just a fact. And I understood the trouble they had doing that because of the way that they've already painted Mandalorian, and if you paint Boba Fett that way, it's going to be more difficult. While I understood that, it didn't make for the most compelling show. There were definitely episodes that I thought were real high on my list, but still, I didn't think it was the most compelling show or as compelling as
Din
right.
You mean the Mandalorian episode?
I really, really liked the flashback. I thought Steph Green's episode was good because we at least got to see Boba Fett. Yes, he had a heart in that episode, but he also had a heart because he had to with the Tusken Raiders. It was his only chance of survival, is if he just kind of maneuvered his way and helped them out at that point. That was his only chance of survival, was to join the tribe. I really liked Steph Green's episode.
The opening sequence to that all made sense. It was really good. I mean, he was doing what he had to really do to survive, and along the way kind of learning about the people, and in that sense kind of falling in love with them, which is a common theme in many areas of that nature. People like the Tusken Raiders are a people of culture. They stick to their guns and do what they do and live the life the way that they live it down to the T. And generally, when you have people like, that's a thing in real life that people experience, is when they go follow the tribes of the Amazon and they live with these people, they start to freaking love these people and want to live like one of them. So, and it's not Stockholm syndrome, because obviously he's choosing to be there at a certain point and not leaving, but to an extent, like, you really do start to sympathize, feel like one of them. And that angle has worked really good. It was just, dropped very fast after they were killed.
Yeah.
It did come full circle. I did like the full circle in the show with them coming back and him really exacting revenge on their behalf. But definitely that middle period, he was just very, very good and too understanding at times.
Yeah.
When he needed to be ruthless in quite a few of those scenes, actually.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that the show in general was, while I enjoyed it, I did, and like I said, it did give us the Din Djarin stuff, and that was important to the story, obviously, to follow up with all that. It just gave a vibe of why was it made, that was kind of the thing. Like, why was it necessary? Did it feel necessary at the end of the day? And the answer is no. While there's a little bit of fun to be had there, I don't think it felt necessary. I think that's the biggest struggle the show had the entire time. And I think that Robert Rodriguez was trying to run the show a lot like John and Dave do, but he kind of forgot that you had to have some kind of like playhouse to play in, I feel like, and like, other than the Mandalorian stuff, which that was easily just John and Dave being like, here, take this and Boba Fett so we can connect it. Other than that, he didn't really have much of a plan. There wasn't much of a sandbox to play in. He just kind of took these, in my opinion, and I wasn't there in the meetings or anything, but in my opinion, it felt like he took a bunch of...
anyone was there in those meetings.
Absolutely. No, it didn't seem like it, did it? And a lot of what it felt like was he took a bunch of directors, like John and Dave did, and said, here, kind of mess around, but didn't give them a lot to mess around with, and kind of let them expand it maybe a little bit further than it needed to be, and kind of let them put their own personality in.
Wasn't really well plotted in that regard.
No, it just, a lot of the things
kind of
just
like the
stretched.
sequel trilogy, where it's like, you guys didn't really plan out too much of a connecting arc here.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys told your stories, and that's great and all, and some people like them, some people hate them, but in terms of connectivity, there's just nothing here to explore. And I mean, it felt a little bit small too, it's at the end of the day, one of the things I did appreciate is that, Django always wanted Boba to just find a life of purpose and meaning at the end of the day, and use the skills that he taught him to find a better life. So I mean, I guess him running his town, taking care of his people at the end goal is kind of a bittersweet moment for Boba, but
Yeah.
the grand scheme of things, also not too big of a role. I don't know. Maybe in the future when we explore Boba's character a little bit more in the Mandalorian, we'll start appreciating where he's at now a little bit more.
Yeah, I hope so. It just felt like, I don't know. I think Lucasfilm is in such a conundrum right now because I feel like the biggest problem that they got to be like confused, and it's our fault. It really is, I think, at the end of the day, because they do.
I told them what they have to do. They fucked up.
They do.
It's their fault.
They do the Solo movie, right? Solo Star Wars story, and everybody's like, that should have been a series. Then they do the Boba Fett and Obi-Wan. Everybody's like, that should have been a movie. Like, you could condense that down. And I don't know that's what I mean. They're like tipping it too far one way or the other, but not really coming up and just balancing the scale properly. Mandalorian's the only time that it felt like, again, it should have been fit into this TV format. And then they did that properly. Like, it just felt very planned out. And then luckily for Boba Fett, we did have the 2 Mandalorian episodes, so it didn't feel like a complete loss or a complete disconnection. And you do gotta wonder, like, at the end of the day, like, did they just throw those in there so it didn't feel like a complete loss? Like, was this thing really in that bad of shape that they had to do a couple Mandalorian episodes? I don't know. My impression of it was that Boba Fett was born out of the pandemic because they wanted to have something for that December slot, seeing as how Mandalorian wasn't going to be able to be produced. So they thought, Boba Fett would be smaller. It's something. And in some ways that does make sense when you look at it that way. Like, it definitely does feel a little bit smaller than, say, Mandalorian was, but still, you got to wonder, they did still manage to crank out 2 Mandalorian episodes to throw into the show that were pretty damn good, if you ask me. So I don't really know. I don't know. I don't really know what the idea was there. I still, like, if I ever have a conversation with just even Dave Filoni, I would ask him, like, was that just kind of thrown in because you guys didn't think it would pan out as well as maybe?
The next Star Wars celebration that Dave Filoni is that we can go to, we'll ask him ourselves.
Absolutely, 100%. Once we get in for press.
I'll say this too. I wonder how the next season of The Mandalorian is going to progress given the 2 episodes that they did. I mean, those 2 episodes weren't like kind of The Mandalorian. Like, they progressed the shit out of every fucking question we had from the last season.
Yeah,
I don't know about every, but some.
I think you still got the
pretty much damn near every.
I was gonna say you still have the Bo-Katan stuff, and I mean, I guess Moff Gideon. You've got. Well, now that we know he's going to Mandalore, you got that stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're going to see Moff for Gideon for a while here, but we have him trying to redeem himself.
Yeah,
going back to Mandalore, and we got the inevitable battle between him and Bo-Katan. But in terms of those are what 2, 3 questions, one more minor. I mean, one of the questions is what happens with Grogu? Will we ever see him again? Straight up, just answered. 2, how's the armor going to react to him? Doing everything the way that he did, taking off his helmet. Now he has the dark saber. What's his responsibility and all that? Where's his clan at? And I mean, I just think that for 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett, they did spend a lot. I don't know if they basically cut 2 episodes out of the Mandalorian, in my opinion. I don't know if that was a plan or if that's going to screw them up or how they're going to adjust. But I feel like at this point, given where it left off, we're going to start progressing into the new season of Mandalorian really fucking fast.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that
I've got full faith. I got full faith in John and Dave.
I do too, honestly, man. Because when I see what you're saying, 100%, Dave.
I don't think it's gonna tank. I do have faith in them as well. I'm just wondering how the fuck they're gonna work that.
No,
well, I guess we'll have to find out when the season comes out. We'll have to find out when the season comes out. Honestly,
it's fair, and I look at again seasons 1 and 2 and how well they play together. And I think season 3 has to. They've given me their full faith that it would pan out properly because of the way seasons 1 and 2 they pan out so well together. They play so well together. They feel like
it's the only show at this point that I have full faith in. Really?
No, yeah, I agree. I have my full faith in it too. I just again was speaking of the fact that I thought it was very interesting that it's like the opening of season 3. I don't think that was planned. I think they used it, like you guys are saying, to kind of a little bit rescue and make it kind of noteworthy there. So it's just going to be interesting to see what they're doing, given that their 2 first episodes of season 3 that just panned out in Book of Boba Fett. How are they going to start it off?
Yeah.
Are they going to start with a filler? Or are they really going to entice us by jumping straight into the pits of what Din Djarin's doing to redeem himself here?
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things about Mandalorian is we do speak of it like it is the best thing to come out right from Disney, but then again, when you even look at that, I think, and maybe I'm alone. I mean, I don't think I'm alone, but maybe I'm alone as far as the three of us goes. That I think even then there are still like episodes and moments that were like that could have been done better, for sure, because it's still not like at that 100% level. Like I'm not saying anything's ever going to be as good as say the original trilogy was, and I think we do need to set our expectations a little bit below at least A New Hope and Empire, at least myself. And I always try to, because I know that's lightning in a bottle. You're not going to capture it again. And
Yeah.
but I think that there's still this like mark that they're still just a little bit below, even with Mandalorian. Like I know it could be even better.
Yeah,
than
but
that.
in terms of what Disney has released so far, this is the best that we've gotten.
And I'm not disagreeing with that.
By
I'm
a
saying
long
like in
shot.
terms of
And
like,
I mean, and I see where you're coming from. I definitely do. There's just marks there that haven't been hit, but
Yeah.
I believe they will. I have full faith in John and Dave, and I feel like they will.
well, that's why I think Andor is so exciting, or even more exciting in some sense, because it could be a big moment to like change this narrative. Because if Mando was really hitting the mark, the entire narrative would be changed with the fans right now, and it's not. Like, let's be honest, like the narrative with the fans has not changed at all. We still have this division going on. There's still people who are like, they lack faith in Mandalorian season 3 for whatever reason. I still see that, even though they liked 1 and 2. There's still this seeming lack of faith in Lucasfilm and the model, which is again why I think Andor is incredibly exciting, because I think that they could hit that mark. This is the show that could. I think that's where I think it could hit. And I'm not saying it is. I'm saying
God, imagine we get disappointed by this.
I know I would be so upset, but if it hits that mark, and if it sells you, or if everything marketed in this trailer is what it is, it will change the narrative about the Disney Star Wars in a big way. Maybe not 100%, but I think in a big way. If it hits, it's going to change a lot of narrative, and it's gonna. We don't have that. I'm talking pre Force Awakens, pre Last Jedi vibes that we used to have for Star Wars anymore. Like I know that we're fans, so we still get excited about the stuff, but the overall vibe, the overall narrative hasn't been there yet. It's nobody's as excited anymore as they were before the Force Awakens or before the Last Jedi had come out, and you know, after Last Jedi is when everything, you know, split. But before that, we were in it was a different time. It was a very different time in fandom. Like, you can't deny that the world just entirely felt different, and I think a lot of that was due to the fact that after Force Awakens, everybody was like, Star Wars is better, you know what I mean? Or even before Force Awakens, there was skepticism, but
I think it's when they found out what. Well, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I think a big thing that played into it is very much so the eras of it. I mean, we had a different feel of Star Wars before the Disney took over, because we got the original trilogy, which was just the start of all this. We got the prequels, which was, you know, it had George there, but it was also like a totally different thing decades later coming back. And then once you knew they were over, I mean, we knew they were over. We weren't really expecting much in terms of further content. So everything we got from there on out, we treated as a treat.
yeah.
And now I think we're just at a point where Disney is running this thing, and they're obviously, it is for money, and that is making a lot of uncertainty, because there's no end season. We are 24/7 Star Wars.
Mhm.
The products are coming out totally different. Some of them are fucked up, some of them are great. So there's a lot of uncertainty in that. They've done so many different fucking things. It's so weird to even try to trust them. It's like, even on Rogue One was great. I still am questioning Andor just for the fact of, look at what they just did to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
Again, not the worst thing ever, but like, that should have been a damn home run.
Yeah,
That was the most anticipated show for everybody. So like, what the fuck? So I think it doesn't help either that there is so much uncertainty from all the different content. They are doing new things to try to do better things in the universe, giving you know, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau a lot of power there. But then also they're still doing some bullshit here by just handing off directors with no real direction, like Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So I think there's just a lot of uncertainty. The clock is never ending here. It's like the goddamn New York Stock Exchange, and that's really putting people on edge.
Yeah,
so,
I don't disagree.
That was gonna be my point, is the fact that Ever since people found out that Disney was going to take over Star Wars, and then they gave us the content they gave us, people are just seeing what Disney's really doing to Star Wars, and it's just not what people want. And like Dave said, I mean, a lot of this stuff is just cash grab, and it's not the what we want to see from Star Wars.
It's just
and I feel like I feel like they're just releasing stuff just to release stuff. I feel like, because Star Wars used to be
sometimes.
Yes, Star Wars used to be like, all right, cool, we're gonna make this, we're gonna wait this amount of time because we want it to be the best. Now they're kind of just filming shit and just releasing it just because they want to release it, whereas they're not taking really the time to, like you said, Dave, or like you said, Dom, to hit the mark and give us what it is, that we, that they know the fans want, and that will hit the mark.
They need to hit the mark and then just keep going up. You know what I mean? Like if the mark's here, they need to hit it.
They first need to hit the mark before they can even keep going up. So
even with Mandalorian,
exactly, that's what I mean.
It's
like
close. I think Mandalorian is ever so close to it, and even with that, I don't feel like they're quite breaking through yet. There's something in the air that's not making them break through, and they need to get back. And they can. That's the amazing thing about it, is they not easily. I don't want to pretend like it's easy to make something great. Like, there's thousands of filmmakers out there that make a lot of things, and a lot of it doesn't turn out great. Let's be honest. But
plus, like, Disney doesn't really have much source material, so it's kind of rough for them to make good stories without no source material.
Was that sarcasm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Deep sarcasm.
yeah.
No, I don't disagree with that point either, because that's another thing. Well, let me go back to Obi-Wan really quick, because before Obi-Wan even came out, right? Like, Ewan McGregor at D23 gets announced. It's a win. It felt like a win just when he got announced to come back. Finally, it's official. And it felt like this win, and there's this like glimmer of hope, right? And then the show comes out and it's fine. It's just fine. And that's like, it's, again, here's the mark and here's Obi-Wan. We're still like, we're not there yet. And so you have that happening. What do they need to announce? I mean, because D23 is right around the corner. What do they need to do? I mean, what is it that can really start to change this narrative a little bit? I mean, even if it's just like a couple of different things, because I'm open to suggestion, because at this point I was trying to think of, like, is there something they can do that can really start to at least change the narrative a little bit? And then, like, let's say they do that, right? They announce this thing that it sounds great, and everybody's going to be dubious because of what they did to Obi-Wan, right? But at least there's a little bit of a win with a great announcement, number one. Number two, and then let's say Andor comes out shortly after and then just, soars past that mark. Like, what can they do to start this up? Give this a jump start to be like, okay, this is a little bit more down the alley of what I would have liked to have seen.
I mean, maybe something with Ahsoka, something more. I don't know. They could. I honestly don't know. Maybe something with, I don't know.
Well, I hope they drop that teaser. I mean, that's the thing about these that's another thing that bothers me, is their scheduling with the teasers and the marketing and everything, because part of it is, for me, it's like, you look at, I understand that they're TV shows, and a lot of the times TV shows don't release their marketing until a month prior to the show coming out or season coming out. And I get that, but at the same time, I do feel like Star Wars is in a place where they can only benefit from releasing marketing early, just to get the narrative changing a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, they're the only ones that I would say, get your marketing out a little bit earlier.
Maybe even like announce who's going to play Ezra Bridger in the Ahsoka series.
That can help.
They haven't really announced that, so maybe that too, an announcement about who's going to play him.
Yeah.
Have they officially released the leaked Mandalorian trailer?
No,
yet?
That's another one. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say that's the biggest given, I think, is that they're gonna release that now, because it's already been leaked. We've all seen it here. We've all seen it. I think that's the biggest thing that they could just drop, get out there. Everyone's gonna get excited for the Mandalorian. It's the best hitting thing. Even if that trailer isn't the best, even if it's short, I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember much of that trailer. I thought I was pretty damn excited for it, though.
I'm actually gonna
see some good stuff.
I don't have a lot of faith that they will, and I think that they should, only because of again, with Mandalorian, they've always waited till like that month or the month prior to release their marketing. It's unfortunate, but I wish that they will, and I think it would get so much hype back onto Star Wars if they do that. But I got one that I don't think has been thrown around enough that I think can actually really really change the tide. And you guys tell me what you think of this, because Acolyte is gearing up. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff being leaked about the filming of it, and it's happening. I mean, they're really going full force on Acolyte. This is one of those shows, even though they didn't talk about it much at Celebration or at all, really, it is happening. Like, we've heard enough reports that this thing is moving forward at full force. So I almost wonder, because the thing I kept thinking about is, I kept thinking about before Force Awakens was coming out, right? And all this mystery surrounding it, because we started hearing about the characters and Kylo Ren and Snoke, and everybody was like, Snoke, maybe that's Plagueis. What if Plagueis gets announced for the Acolyte? What if they just come out right out and say, we have Plagueis and we got the guy who's playing him? Would that be enough to start to change the tide a little bit? If they did that.
I think for the deep Star Wars fans, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely for the masses trending, that ain't gonna do shit. To be honest, that's a sad thing. I mean, maybe it'll get up there. People will be asking who the fuck is Plagueis and stuff. But for the deep Star Wars fans, I think that's something that could start winning people over for sure.
We definitely. I mean, we've said this plenty of times before. We haven't had anything really Sith based, and I think that it's about time that we get something that's heavily Sith based, and I think that will definitely help announcing who is going to play Darth Plagueis and if he's going to be in it. Because I think we just need to see more of Darth Plagueis, because again, the only thing we really have about him is the story that Sidious told to Anakin.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's about time that we get more about more story for him, like his backstory and how he, what his life was like, what he did and everything. Because I mean, we just really need that.
Fucking excellent.
Yeah, and
we just need the fans that know Plagueis. Everyone fucking loves Plagueis.
Yeah,
he's not your favorite, but his story is fucking riveting.
He could be, if you do it right. He could be everybody's favorite. That's the thing about it. It's like, it's one of those things. The reason he's not our favorite is because he hasn't been developed yet. No. All he's got is the story that Sidious told to Anakin. Yeah,
that's absolutely all he's really got.
Yeah, and to go back and look at that, I mean, that would be incredible. But you have to. There's got to be. I remember that fan teaser that was made for that one show, Jose, the Knights of Ren. Remember that?
The one that. Yeah.
But everybody who watched that loved it.
Oh yeah.
And you have to start. This is the other thing that they got to really start doing. They have to start showing these sample size things. Again, this goes back into the way that they market. They do need to start showing these sample size things to make us believe that this is what's going to be there, and really sell us on the fact that this is in good hands. Give us something. Sorry, Dave, you look confused.
Who the fuck are the Knights of Ren?
You kidding me?
This guy.
Increased sarcasm.
Yeah. But I mean that, and like, I even feel like the other thing is, again, I go back to Celebration before Rise of Skywalker. Well, there were many people very dubious at that thing because of the way that half the fan base felt about The Last Jedi. Rise of Skywalker, everybody was back in a moment. We had a real moment when that teaser came out of Fandom United, when the teaser came out. We really did. And then for half of the fan base, Rise of Skywalker comes out and they drop the ball on that too. It's like, what do you do? Because you have to. They have to have learned their lesson. Number one, they have to have learned their lesson of, we can't just do something because we think that it'll make people who are upset happy. We need to focus on what we need to focus on is make the best content possible. That's what Mandalorian is. That's what it feels like to me. It's literally, they're not focused on what everybody's going to think of this stuff. It's going to naturally happen. And we've said this before on either this show or Movie Mornings. We've said it. It naturally happens because you got two guys behind it who are actual fans. So they're making the things that they want to see, not the things that the fans want to see. And that's what kind of happened.
That's the thing too, is they're making what they want to see, but at the same time they know that's what the true fans of Star Wars want to see.
They know it because they are fans.
Exactly.
And by being true fans, the biggest point is that they are knowledgeable.
Exactly.
They are so knowledgeable on the material that they won't make stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
They won't turn a blind eye to what the universe is and disrespect it. So everything they do is done with respect, but it's done from the point of view of a fan, and it has originality through that.
But you also you have to look at, I'm trying to think like Obi-Wan, right? You have to look at that, right? And let's take something as small as, which I didn't have a complaint about at first, but the more I watch it, the more it bothers me. Obi-Wan carrying little Leia in the coat. How do you, I'm really wondering, how do you as a creator rewatch the footage and not question that?
Yeah. Be like, oh, they were like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna use that.
And if you don't know, well, if you don't question it, you got to think of the fans in the sense that, well, they're going to question it. You know, like they're going to question, and that's just one little thing. If that was the only thing, we would have went, oh, that Lucasfilm. But no, it's a lot of things like that. It's a lot of oopsies like that have been happening.
Are you questioning Filoni in that?
I'm questioning everybody. I'm questioning the fact that this got passed through a ton of people. Filoni as head of creative. Well, first of all, Deborah Chow is a filmmaker who has to take this up to Filoni as head of creative, who has to take this up to Kathleen Kennedy, head of studio, who has to screen that, I'm sure, with Bob Chapek, who we all know is an idiot anyway.
Bob Paycheck, yes.
I'm not saying that Chapek has to be the one to say it. I'm saying of all those people, nobody said, wait a minute. And I know that's one little moment, and that was the one little oopsie, and I wouldn't be questioning it so much, but I'm saying it's a lot of things like that. We can't deny there's a lot of things like that.
All I'd like to say on that is that I don't think Dave Filoni saw that and was thrilled. And there's a lot more politics to like how these things are passed on and passed by Dave Filoni, the head of creative, than just like, do you like this? And him just being able to freely be like, no, this is fucking awful.
He doesn't have to say it's awful, but he has to give constructive criticism.
To critique it even. But the point being is, okay, first of all, Kathleen Kennedy is not a fan. That we all know that. She is not.
You don't have to be a fan. That could be in any. Wait a minute. Stop that for 1 second, because what I'm not even talking about a in-depth Star Wars problem. I'm talking about a genuine logic problem.
Like, but what I'm saying in her not being a fan is she really does not give a shit.
She better, because that's how she that's what pays her bills.
Does she look like she's ever given a shit in any of the decisions that she's made, Tom?
I do think so.
Well, I think the best decision she's ever made for Star Wars is making the Filoni head of creative,
because she realized her career probably fucking depended on it, because he knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't mean she liked it.
I disagree with that too, but like in terms of her. Well, yeah, I disagree and agree. I'll tell you where I agree. I do agree in the sense that, yes, you need to make good content to keep your career. So, yes, I think she very much has to give a shit. She has to, because that's how she keeps her job going. Don't get me wrong. If Kathleen Kennedy stepped down today, she'd get a job somewhere else. She's a phenomenal producer. There's no doubt about it. But it's something that she probably would actually do better with. I'm not saying that she wouldn't, but I'm saying that she's
Favreau for president, bro.
I'm saying is I don't disagree with that either. But what I'm saying is, like, when you look at her job in Lucasfilm, this is the best paycheck she's ever received. And if she wants to keep her job, she better. I'm not saying she does, but she better start giving a shit, because she's not going to keep that job now.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that basis is not good enough. Obviously,
she's a lot safer right now than I think people give her credit for in that position. Though she still has the $3 billion hits with the sequels. You can't take that away from her. And the $1 billion hit with
yes,
Rogue
I can,
One.
Because I could be fucking the producer of that. It's fucking Star Wars. Everyone saw The Last Jedi and still went to go see Rise of Skywalker.
So you're telling me,
when you look at after the films were released, people still bought The Rise of Skywalker digitally, and it made money.
Wait a second, though. So you're telling me, though, with that logic, what you're saying is that Bob Paycheck cares about Star Wars. No,
that's what I was going to say.
Paycheck does not.
Is that he also doesn't care, which is what I'm saying is the chain of command is broken, because he also doesn't care.
Well, that's what I mean. So what I'm saying is she's safe in her position still, because the powers that be just care about the money. That's my point.
They just want to release cash
grabs.
And
that's my point as well.
Okay, good. As long as we're on the same page with that.
Yeah, we're all on the same page.
But she's still safe in her position. I'm not saying she's
only because the dude above her doesn't care either.
I'm not saying she's done her job well. There's a big difference. I think I think when you look at it in the money wise, she has done a good job. She has at least gotten the marketing in the money wise. She has done she's averaged better than Kevin Feige right now. She's averaged. That's average. But that's money. I'm saying when you look at the money, we gotta stop saying that she has not done her job.
But I feel like, but this thing is, I think Jon Favreau could do the same job, if not better.
That's fine, but he didn't get it.
Well, he should. Fuck, get her out of there. Put Jon Favreau in there, please.
I'm not saying he can't do it. I think he can run it 100%. I'm saying that we have to look at what we have. So instead of sitting there and shitting on her, this is what I'm saying. We have to try to root for her to get her shit together because she ain't going anywhere right now.
Oh, fuck, man.
You want to get her shit together. It's not going to help. Well, not just us. There's plenty of people that have done more damage than
no,
we
bro.
have.
Just
we're
just let her
speaking
keep
logically.
Let her keep fucking up, and then eventually.
But no, why would you want that?
Well, because then Favreau.
Stop. Because by saying that, you're saying you want bad content from Star Wars. That's what you're saying right now.
If it takes
this is
Kennedy
like
getting out of putting Favreau in charge, then.
But I don't understand that because what you're telling me right now,
you don't know that's going to happen.
No, what I'm saying is by saying.
I'm saying to Jose.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that that's going to happen. So that's like when people talk about no matter who the guy is, when they say you don't want the president, even if you don't like him, to do a bad job because he's running the country. That's what Dom is saying. We don't want Kathleen Kennedy to do a bad job. The problem is that she's not listening to anyone. She's a pilot that's blindfolded with her AirPods in, and she's not really being helpful on our end.
I think to some degree.
But to every extent, if we could just get Kathleen Kennedy to do a better job, care a little bit more, actually maybe read some of Star Wars, check out the original trilogy at some point. I'm always down for changing someone's heart instead of putting them down.
Exactly.
I just think there's damn near zero chance for it.
And that's fine. That's fair to think that at this point because
I disagree with Jose and crashing the ship.
Yeah, that's fair. You don't want. I understand that we like Favreau. I like Favreau too, but I also want good Star Wars content because I'm being logical. Realistically, she's fine. She's fine in her position. She's safe in her position. That's what I mean. In the eyes of Disney, she's perfectly fine. So you want
she's
somebody
making them billions.
But
that's the only reason why.
So I'm saying that's good. But I'm also saying that's good.
It's good for Disney.
Well, it's good for the people that went to see them multiple times too, who liked them. I'm not saying, look, this is what I'm saying. We have to look at some very, very, you don't even have to say you like Kathleen Kennedy, but we have to look at some facts. Number one, she did hire Filoni as head of creative. And I don't feel like Filoni's been doing his entire job yet either. But that's yet to be seen. We'll give him a little bit more time to work this out because we do understand he's got a little bit of a mess to clean up, right? So we're gonna pump the brakes there and be like, all right, let's give him a little time to fix this. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, number two being that she did put John and Dave together. She did. She said, guys, get together.
I feel like this was all just to save her ass.
But
for Star Wars.
But she did
it wasn't for Star Wars, it was just to save her ass.
But she did it. She did it. And
anyone with brain cells would do that.
But it goes back to my point. It goes back to how many pitches do you think she gets a day though for new stuff? Like honestly. Like I understand.
I wonder how many good ones she's fucking put down.
I wonder how many bad ones she has.
I mean, yeah. It goes either way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So that's the thing is like all those good ones that she probably has put down. I mean, shit, we're missing out on it.
You're not making business sense here. Hang on, stop. So number one, you got to look at she put Filoni in charge of the creative. Number two, we had the John and Dave ordeal. Number three, again, business wise, the movies have had tremendous returns, but that's the good stuff. But here's the bad stuff. So let's weigh this out. Number one, she's fired a lot of people. She can't get on board with anybody. She can't get on the same page with anybody. And that's the most irritating part. And Lord knows if fucking, what's her name? Oh gosh. Patty Jenkins is even there anymore, right? Working on her Rogue Squadron, which sounded great and really sounded like it was coming from a place of heart. I hope D23 changes that narrative and we listen to it and we're like, yeah, she's still there. But that's number one.
That'd be nice.
Yes, she can't get on the same page with anybody. Number two, she doesn't seem to give a shit about Star Wars, and if she does, she's doing a pretty damn good job convincing me otherwise, right? And that's another big problem. I think that's a huge problem. But number three, this is the part that I think is most irritating, and not a lot of people are bringing this up. This is the worst thing about Kathleen Kennedy to me, running Lucasfilm anyway. Her incredible fucking resume has not reflected the work in general over there in Lucasfilm. That is the most irritating part. She has produced some of the best movies of all time. You cannot tell the story of Hollywood without Kathleen Kennedy.
I see her every time I walk on ET, bro.
And it has not reflected in this position. And that's irritating because I'll tell you why. Tony Gilroy, I'm going to bring him up again. Now, we haven't seen Andor, but we know what happened at Rogue One, right? Look at Rogue One. Development hell. And this is another positive thing Kathleen Kennedy did, by the way. Called Tony Gilroy, come fix this movie. Movie in development hell goes out and turns out great, right? Because she called her buddy Tony Gilroy up. But Tony Gilroy is admittedly not a Star Wars fan, but he's clearly a great fucking director, and he knows what he's doing. Kathleen Kennedy shouldn't have to be a Star Wars fan. You look at her resume. She should be hitting the mark and soaring. And that's the reason, let's be honest, George trusted her with this. Because of her resume. He doesn't care how big of a Star Wars fan she is. He knows her work. And it doesn't matter. You think she really knows? She's a producer on Indiana Jones. You really think she knows all the ins and outs of Indiana Jones? No, but she's an incredible producer. Right?
I think that she definitely was able to, and this is something where I don't blame her fully. I blame her only in the fact that she hasn't done it by now. If she had made mistakes earlier and she had fixed them, that would have been different. But it doesn't seem like she's even trying to immerse herself in the universe. To compare Indiana Jones and E.T. to Star Wars,
yeah.
And I'm not trying to say you're trying to do that, but that's like asinine. I mean, it just doesn't seem like she's trying to. I mean, E.T., the universe of E.T., the universe of Indiana Jones, that's something you can honestly sit down in a room for a week of meetings and learn basically everything.
That is true.
I agree. There's a lot more happening
with Star Wars, and I don't think that she even has the right people around her, and I don't even think it's like Filoni in charge of creative. I'm saying even small beans people here just around the office. I don't think she has enough good beans to even be surrounding her with half-cocked ideas. Is that her problem? Yeah, because that's also her job, is to put the right people in those office positions and help her out. But again, my biggest issue is just that it doesn't seem like she's immersing herself. And in terms of Filoni, I'm not gonna lie, in terms of like and we won't get into a big discussion on all of them, but like just general understandings of the Star Wars universe, there's things that Filoni has talked about that I disagree with him on. Things that he says that George said, but George has said other things in interviews to contradict it. I don't absolutely love Filoni. I don't know, like I understand the project he's been a part of. I think he's great too. I don't think he's awful either. I'm just saying I'm not like in love with the dude. I just also think when he sees, the Muppet Man scene, which is the Kenobi scene, I just think that he's dealing with Bob Chapek, Kathleen Kennedy, who are like, that's pretty fucking cute, and he's just standing there like,
That's the thing though, because that's the thing that I gotta say. If I pity Kathleen Kennedy in any way, it's this. It's that even if she was getting her shit together, we might never know because of what Chapek's doing over there right now. That's the other problem about it.
You mean
Paycheck's doing over there, correct? Because if honestly, him taking the power away from these studio heads, even if she was getting her shit together, we might never see that, right? Because, and that's kind of what makes me pity her just a little bit. And the other thing, again, I do want to remember, and I know what you're saying, Dave. She still really hasn't shown an effort right now we got to remember when Force Awakens came out, let's not try to rewrite history. The Star Wars was in a bad place because prequel hate was everywhere. It was bad. It was a lot worse. I mean, not worse than the sequel hate. The sequel hate seems worse because of social media, I think. That's a lot of it. But prequel hate was really, really bad when she took over. It's a lot of reason George sold the company. He'll tell you that firsthand is because of the prequel hate. It was bad. There were people
I'm not gonna lie, the prequel got hate, but from my experience, my entire life knowing a lot of Star Wars fans, everyone has kind of always felt the same. Now, I'm not talking about like if there's kids now that are just watching the prequels and having different opinions, but everyone I know that saw the prequels back then and watch them now all hold the same opinions as they did before, in my view.
I disagree.
Everyone really didn't like. I mean, maybe you're talking to different people, but I'm just saying, like, I know hundreds of people, all of them hated the Phantom Menace, like aspects of Attack of the Clones, and enjoyed Revenge of the Sith and did on day one and do still now. So
Oh, that's fine.
That's not to say
No.
there's not hate there, but I'm just saying I don't think any feelings have really changed on that. I think
Yeah.
people really love Revenge of the Sith. Even people that don't love it respect it. Attack of the Clones had some good stuff there, but still wasn't great, and that gets a lot of hate reasonably. And the Phantom Menace is like utter garbage. Like, just show them the last fucking fight.
Yeah, I'm not gonna even mention the green screen, same play, moving cars in Attack of the Clones.
So. Well, no, I mean, no, I from my experience, it was always prequels suck, and I absolutely.
I'm gonna just say I don't like I don't like Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones at all.
Boomers.
Revenge of the Sith is my favorite of the three. I'll just say that.
I got to a point where I started hating them myself, and like even I'm slowly coming around on a lot of things about them now. But even like Revenge of the Sith, I couldn't watch anymore. That's where I was at before Force Awakens came out, and you know I've slowly.
You can't watch Revenge of the Sith.
I couldn't before Force Awakens came out. I had a really hard time with it, and honestly, it was so tough for me. And like I knew a lot of people like that.
Wow.
And just because. And I think a lot of it was because when Revenge of the Sith ended, this is the people I've spoken to. It was a lot of this feeling of, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. That's where it ends kind of thing. We're not going to get anymore. And I think that was a lot of it. And then so when Force Awakens was coming out, people were skeptical because of the way the prequels turned out. But on the same hand, they were kind of excited for new content. And when Force Awakens came out, it got a lot of people who hated the prequels back on. We can't take that away either, because it did. And I mean, obviously... that ended pretty quickly afterward, but I'm saying like a lot of people who enjoyed Force, and I'm saying that, guys, as a Last Jedi fan again, 100% myself, but I'm saying you still got that 50% that was like, no, you know, and that sucks. I'm not saying that. And what do? You go to J.J. Abrams and you say, hey, Force Awakens was real successful. Do what you did there, but more fan service. And he did, and then people who didn't like Last Jedi tended to like Rise of Skywalker. It fluctuated. It really, really did. So you have a big division problem. That's without a doubt.
And just planning in general is just, again, that's what I really meant with people around the office, people running this, is just they did it in the sequels. They've done it in the Book of Boba Fett. They've done it where they just hand out these episodes to different directors. Is where it gets lost, is the fact that they don't have a plan where they say, listen, this is the overarching plan. This is what I was going for here. Take your own style, apply it to the movies, characters, and arcs. But this is just generally what I was thinking for these characters. And that's why people that didn't like The Last Jedi didn't like it. And Rian Johnson, I mean, there's tons of footage of him out there just saying, well, like, this isn't a sequel to the Force Awakens. This is my Star Wars movie.
It's Star Wars, and I love it for that.
Yeah, same.
And well, that's true, but again, that's where Irvin Kershner is respected as one of the greatest directors of all time for doing Empires, because he understood A New Hope. He actually paid attention to what they were doing, and he goes, okay, I'm gonna make my movie and not totally fucking murder for no reason the trajectory of where this is going.
People hated
and
Empire
they
at the
keep
time
doing
too. Just saying.
Yeah.
They did at the time.
People hated Star Wars at the time. People didn't like A New Hope.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, don't look at the numbers on any of those
No, but I'm saying like a lot
they
of people,
all sucked.
people went to go see Empire who liked Star Wars and thought it was shit because they were like, well, you know, I guess that makes, you know, the way it made Obi-Wan look, you know, because people really liked Obi-Wan.
The only problem in that is
liar.
that, again, those people have no logical sense.
But it happened. You know, that's my point.
Yeah, it happened.
Yeah.
But again, that's, you know, there's children making arguments and kicking and screaming with no facts, and then there's literal logical arguments of why things are stupid. But that's all I'm saying, is that there's a difference between, you know, you could not like the style of Irvin Kershner. Everything he did had a logical conclusion to it. It was generally wrapped up in that movie. And that's where Disney is right now, where the distinctions, the separations, why people don't like it, is because it's literally like in the face of logic. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so separated, like Book of Boba Fett. Again, it's not movie to movie. That's literally episode to episode, total illogical distinction that you can't put together. If the thing doesn't even make sense, how can it stand?
Yeah. No, I hear you. Well, yeah, and well, the big difference is going back to the beginning of your point. George had a sandbox for Irvin to play in, for Richard Marquand to play in when he did Return of the Jedi. Like, he had a sandbox for them to play in. Filoni and John, they have a different director each episode mostly. Sometimes they'll bring back certain ones, but still, they're all playing in a sandbox. It's a different one for each episode of The Mandalorian. They're all playing in their sandbox, and so I kind of go back to the thing of, well, where the hell is the sandbox with Obi-Wan? Where the hell is the sandbox with Boba Fett? I mean, at least Boba Fett feels like it's in the same sandbox, just a little bit unnecessary. Like that's yeah. I mean, like, but
Kenobi's
Obi-Wan,
rubbing sand on the goddamn school bus. We don't know where the fuck we are right now.
right. And you know, I really do get the sense that Andor is not going to feel like that sandbox, but it's still going to be really fucking good. I think it's going to be the one to still hit the mark, even though it's not going to be in that sandbox per se. I think it's going to feel closer to that sandbox.
I definitely think that they have a really good advantage just in the fact that Cassian and Andor doesn't have a ton of footage behind him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really the only deep character that you need to character study for the show.
Yeah.
That's not to say no one else is important, but just to say he's the only deep dive.
Yeah. I think that's the way to go, though. Again, I think we've been saying it forever, too. I mean, logical people have at least been saying, really want to fix your Star Wars problem, go with characters that you don't have a lot of rules behind. You know, Boba Fett, you got fans of it. Obi-Wan, you got fans of him. Solo, you got fans of him. So we have rules. Luke Skywalker, you got fans of him. You know, it goes round and round.
If we can circle back a little bit here, that does lead me to one of the bombs I'm hoping is dropped at D23.
Yeah, go ahead. I was wondering, yeah.
So the two, I think the first one doesn't exactly go with what you had to say, but I think
Fair
Lando
enough.
is something that is being worked on, is it not?
I think they'll probably at least be like, because remember the last time they talked about Lando at Disney Plus Day a couple years back, they were like, they just said Lando, but they didn't say anything about Gambino coming back to do it, right? So like, confirm him.
So that's what I'm
Confirm
saying in
him.
terms of, I mean, if you're going to talk about Solo, the one thing that I've seen zero hate over is that guy, what's his name? Donald Glover.
Donald Glover.
Okay, yeah, Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
His everybody loves his Lando. I think they're gonna drop something on that. And second of all, to take themselves away from the Skywalker saga and the world that we know and do something fresh, I am praying to God that they drop something, even just that they're working on something in a totally different era. I'm thinking Old Republic with Keanu Reeves, just saying. It's just the idea that they're going to work on something that really separates from the Skywalker saga, the Mandalorian timeline here, any of the sequel timeline, and just go back in a time machine to a totally different time where they can get a new original film. I mean, that's somewhat of what they did with Rogue One, where it's really wedged in between the prequels and original trilogy, but at the same time, it's a step away from everything that we know, and it turned out fucking perfect. And it gives people the ability to not have to be in a sandbox and give directors really good creative control and work on a new story.
Yeah.
And so I don't think the likelihood is crazy high, but if in terms of a genius move that they could make at D23, I think that's definitely one of them.
I agree. I do agree with you mostly. The only thing that worries me about Lando is it's another thing where there's an opportunity to drop the ball. I don't like to give them, I want to give them little opportunities to drop the ball as possible. And the only way you could drop the ball with Lando,
definitely.
The way you could drop the ball with Lando is I think there's going to be a lot of expectation for Kira and Maul to come back into it because they're very much connected in that. And if they,
I didn't even think about that actually.
And I'm not saying if they don't show up that it's not going to be a great show. It might be something I personally love, but I'm saying in terms of the conversation of getting the fandom back, you're going to have a lot of people expecting Kira and Maul, and they won't do it. Watch, and then it's going to drop the ball, or hopefully they do, and everybody's happy.
I just want to see more of Darth Maul, especially with his new spider robotic half.
That ain't gonna happen, buddy. I hate to break it to you.
I know.
I mean, where is the Darth Maul content? Why is it so
That's
hard
what
to
I
get
mean.
that made? I mean, to me, that's the weird thing about it is you have all this money that you pump into projects, right? And then the stuff that Darth Maul is easy. It's not easy, but you have so much story there to explore between the time of Clone Wars and Rebels. Why set it up in Solo and not follow up on it? Because Solo didn't make as much money? That's ridiculous. That has nothing to do with Maul. I understand that's the mindset.
It is a cash grab, which is what's so funny to me is like that.
Right.
If you want to make money, baby, let's make money. Let's do them all. And it's just crazy too because he's such a a decent villain in such a shitty movie that we barely see, and outside of that, he's been so built up, and that's one of the things that made me happy about seeing him in Solo is Lucas said, he came out and said, by the way, you know how I killed Maul in the Phantom Menace and then he wasn't dead? That was because he was supposed to be a huge overarching villain in upcoming movies.
Right.
And then they teased him in Solo. And yeah, you just made me depressed again by reminding me. They're just probably not going to do it.
What you just said, though, brings up a really good point. And this is a lot of the problem is I do feel like, I'm not saying that this is the only reason Star Wars isn't in the best place right now. I'm saying that I think that it goes back to all the yelling, all the screaming of these fans. It's like, it's probably really hard to navigate with all this backlash, and Lucas himself went back on things that he wanted to do due to backlash. He's admitted as much.
Yeah.
Jar Jar was supposed to be a bigger part of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm personally glad he wasn't.
Christ.
I'm personally glad he wasn't. But Maul,
Greatest Sith Lord of all time, asshole.
Yeah, that's why I got a tattoo of him.
but Maul, I mean, even Maul, you know, in a lot of great.
Oh my god, I lost it.
No, a lot of the reason that Clone Wars was conceived in the first place by George and Dave. George came to Dave to conceive Clone Wars because there were a lot of things that he didn't do because he went back on them because of fan backlash, right? And there's so much there. And so even for George Lucas, the creator, it was hard to navigate the waters with all this backlash and things of that nature. And same with I'm not saying that, again, she's done more harm than just this, but I'm saying I can see how it might be harder for a Kathleen Kennedy to navigate her way around with a lot of backlash a little bit too. I just don't think that the solution is yelling and screaming. I think the solution is constructive criticism, and I think that we can honestly, let's be honest, we're not guilty of it, but there are a lot of people yelling and screaming, out there too, who are not helping the situation right now. They're not. Yeah. The ones that get on the internet and yell.
There's
and scream,
a lot of
help.
stupid Star Wars fans. I
Yes,
mean, that's I've told you that's, man, I forgot what it was. I think it might have actually been Kenobi. When we first talked about Kenobi, I think I straight up told you I have criticisms that I don't even want to say out loud because of the fucking idiots that then take my actual well-formulated thought that I realized originally on my own by watching it, and then they just spew the talking point out without even realizing it and tie things in that don't even make sense. And those are the people that just ruin this. And again, they're just yelling with no constructive criticism.
Well, that's one thing.
Me.
I remember there's this one time Dom and I were watching a bunch of videos of these Star Wars fans just talking a bunch of rubbish about and not giving actual constructive criticism about these for example, I think it was about The Last Jedi, because Dom and I both like it. He was showing me this video of these fans just talking a bunch of rubbish about the Last Jedi movie, not giving actual constructive criticism.
There's a lot of them. There's more than there should be.
Shitting on the movie for no damn reason. That's just what pisses me off so much about Star Wars these days. Is just those idiot fans that are out there.
Don't get me wrong. I believe that those people had their reasons to shit on it, but they can't muster up the right words or the knowledge to be able to express it. Instead, they put on a camera and they just start yelling and screaming because it's not the movie they wanted. There's to
be totally fair to that video, by the way, there's a lot of idiots in that video. There are a few people taken out of context.
Oh, we showed you that. You
that's a little bit. Yeah, you did show me. We hung out and watched it.
That's right.
There are a lot of idiots in that video. And those are the people I'm talking about. And not to be mean, but the ones with speech slurs we listen to, those are the people. That being said, there was a few people in there that had good arguments that guy obviously spliced and took things out of context and focused on a small part of their argument instead of big things. But nonetheless, we're all on the same page here. There's idiots that can't formulate any real argument and just want to scream at the moon instead of telling Disney what it needs to know, which is, hey, we want Maul, read this book, watch this content. Please don't fuck this up.
Yeah. It's so funny. I do get tired of kind of looping around, but I feel like I have to say it every episode. Not for you two. I know you two know where I stand. It's for the people that listen. Like, I really honestly, because I really do want to spread some type of positivity here about Star Wars, and the thing is, I feel like I do have to keep looping back around, you know what I mean? And when Kathleen Kennedy was kind of talking at Star Wars Celebration before Rise of Skywalker, and she was like, look, you know, we kind of sat down and we listened to what the fans had to say. I was sitting there like, I hope to God you didn't listen to the idiots who are yelling and screaming. I hope that's not what she means, but I have a feeling that's what she does mean, you know, because of the sudden firing of Trevorrow and the sudden bringing in of JJ. I feel like that's what she does mean a little bit, right? And I watched Rise of Skywalker, and look, guys, I had a good time when I saw it in the theater. I really did, and I genuinely did. And look, I still like the movie, but there's a difference between, this is what I'm trying to say here. There's a difference between I might like the movie, but it's here, and the mark is all the way up here. But it doesn't mean I dislike anything. It's just that I see there's so much space between here and that space is littered with problems. But that doesn't mean I dislike something. Like, I'm still, I guess I'm still happy with that Star Wars. Anyway, I always got to keep looping around to make that point. But anyway, it really wasn't until I read, and Jose knows what I'm talking about here, when I read the Trevorrow script. And it was
oh my gosh, which I've also now read. So,
and it, yeah, you did.
No, that's what I mean. And I have read it.
Oh, you have read, right? Yeah. So,
yeah.
like, the Trevorrow script, and you're like, well, I guess she did listen to the people that yelled and screamed, because there was no reason to get rid of Trevorrow for this script, or at least, even if you couldn't play nice with that guy individually. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I'm saying, well, let's just say she just couldn't play nice with Colin Trevorrow. You use those ideas. You have now, as Lucasfilm, bought that script. It's a good script. I don't care how you feel.
It's an amazing.
It's an amazing script. It's,
dude. It would have made it. It would have made episode 9 the best of those 3 in that sequel, in the sequels. It literally would have.
By the way, I've heard this talked about a lot. Still haven't gotten around to reading it. Dom, if you can hook me up with that,
I would.
I've got. Read it tonight.
Well, do you still have a copy of it? Because I actually don't know if I still got it. Send it to both of us, because I was
gonna say, because I've got it was on a Reddit post. There's a Google Docs form to the entire script that I still have saved on my computer, so I'll send that to both of y'all.
Literally, if you could do it after the show, I'm
100%.
I'll read it tonight. Like, I won't finish it, but I'll probably get like
bro, I'm telling you, this is like, if they would have done this episode 9, it would have been
especially because I
best.
respect, unlike some people here, Colin Trevorrow's ability to wrap up franchises like Jurassic World.
I didn't like the movie, but I don't like the movie, but he wrote a good script, man. He wrote an amazing
No, it's
script.
not a killer movie. I mean, it's really not. I even said that from the bat. I think it was entertaining, a good.
No, but he actually did really write an amazing.
As Dom says in the accent, I can't replicate. The fucking locusts. I want to see dinosaurs. They give me fucking locusts. These goddamn bugs. That's your most killer accent, by the way. You had that fucking perfect.
He does.
Kids
you do
today,
it to
they got no respect. Anyway, look, no, I promise you, and obviously everything's always going to be subjective, and so you never really know what the reaction.
I mean, even the title of the fucking movie is amazing.
It is, but
it's gonna be called Duel of the Fates, which just
here's the thing.
It gives me chills straight away.
I woke up this morning.
There's a slight chance. It's always a slight chance that everything looks great on paper and could have been bad on screen. There's a slight chance of that, because you just never know. Sometimes things do look better on paper than they turn out, but I can almost promise you that script gets made the way it was written and the way I imagine it in my head. We are all having a different conversation about Star Wars today and all the sequels.
It would have hit that mark.
I was having a conversation with Sammy the other day, and she said, and this is no fault to her, and we said it here today, or you said it here today, Dave, and this is no fault to you. You say the problem is that there's no plan. And when Sammy said that, I immediately went, wait a minute. It's not when there's no plan. It's when you have a plan and you ditch it. Because you read that Trevorrow script and you tell me there wasn't a plan. Honestly.
I'd actually, that's what makes me deeply interested. As Jose knows, which is why it's funny. No offense to you, Jose. I'm not saying you didn't push back enough, but you know, when Jose came down here, I didn't totally try to indoctrinate him to not liking The Last Jedi anymore, because, you know, I didn't want to totally pester him. that, like I said, I didn't really push it, but what I did do is at least make him understand where things fell apart for a lot of people, and getting the Socratic method on. Okay, you're J.J. Abrams, Ryan Johnson does this, and now you're told to make a third movie. How do you do that?
Well, there's a couple different things though.
Well, I'm excited to see this script just for the fact of, like I said, I hit him with that, and no offense, I'm not saying Jose didn't have a comeback, but he understood where I was coming from in terms of, you're J.J. Abrams, you have this plan. Rian Johnson comes in and says, I'm not doing no plan, I'm just going to make my movie really quick. And then he destroys a lot of what your plan was. How do you fix it?
Well, that's,
and yeah, Dave, you and I did.
I'm not trying to totally blame Rian Johnson.
I get you.
I'm just saying it's just what happened.
Yeah.
And then you're J.J. Abrams, and you're told, hey, we want you to come back and do this. And he's like, well, what I had going on here was kind of fucked up, so I don't know what I'm really supposed to do.
Because Dave, you and I did have a conversation about this at your place. I remember.
It was only like 10 minutes. Like I said, I wasn't trying to totally indoctrinate you, which I will do one of these days.
And I would never just completely like write off JJ. The guy's a very talented director and filmmaker, like he is. I mean, The Rise of Skywalker is a beautiful looking movie. There's no doubt about it. It's gorgeous, and you need his direction. And same for Ryan. I mean, Last Jedi is a gorgeous looking movie. They are talented at their craft. They know their way around a camera. I would never take that away from them. And JJ's made great movies, and Ryan's made great. They both have movies.
Which is something that I've never said I'd like to say publicly while you brought it up. I like the way that The Last Jedi looks. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
That's what I told you when we rewatched that video. Is
probably the best.
I understand how you can. I can understand how you can become entranced. In understanding a single scene, seeing the imagery, the way that they put it together, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But that just doesn't distract away from the rest of the details of the movie for me. But it is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Great job, Rian Johnson. It is beautiful.
I think they're both
I
very.
What you were trying to do.
I think they're both very good with actors. I think in terms of that aspect, that we can honestly say Ryan just a little more than JJ. But then again, I thought Daisy Ridley gave her best performance in Rise of Skywalker personally, and that's JJ's movie. So I think that.
It's hard to say because we obviously for both movies, and
they're both great.
I don't know if it's either both. I don't know if it's either their faults or Kathleen Kennedy herself, but obviously we had a lot taken away as well.
But
and there's a lot of instruction in that.
It's true. There's a lot taken
the right
away.
Screen time, but
there are some deleted scenes in Last Jedi they should have put right back in there because they look. I mean, they're awesome, and I'd never seen the deleted scenes.
Daisy Ridley literally gave her blood, sweat, and fucking tears for like a goddamn hour, and they didn't put it in there. It's like, what the fuck, dude? She worked her ass off for that.
A lot happening, yeah, it's true. But look, there's something to go back to your initial point about when you were explaining to Jose about where things went wrong, and to answer that question. There's a couple things with JJ, and I don't blame him at all for any of them. And number one, I mean, the guy literally said, when I went into Rise of Skywalker, I just said, fuck it. He literally said that in an interview before the film came out. And you know why he said, fuck it? Because number one, they said, JJ, please everyone. That was his instruction. How do you do that? You don't. At this point, so you are gonna just say, "Yeah, fuck it."
You do it the way that he did it. He's like, "This is gonna look really badass, I guess."
Right. So yeah, I just said, "Fuck it." And then the other thing about J.J. Abrams is to go into one of your points. You're not wrong, Dave, because Ryan came in and was instructed to do one thing: make Rian Johnson Star Wars. That was his instruction, and he did. He did that very successfully. If he didn't, people wouldn't be so upset. He did Rian Johnson's Star Wars very successfully. Whether you like Rian Johnson's Star Wars or not, that's a different conversation, but he did that very successfully. And it's a little bit, it diverges from what JJ wanted to do. And then that was the other thing that I think going through JJ's mind. I mean, I want to go back to where I was at. So don't
go back.
You're right. I want to revert a little bit, and that's I'm not saying I blame JJ for doing that. It's his instruction.
It's human nature in a lot of ways too. I mean, it's not just his instruction. It's also human nature of like, shit, this is what I want to do.
Reminds me of Kevin Malone from The Office. It's only human natural. I love that.
Oh my god, dude.
But
we're watching Home Alone here. Fucking love that movie.
But the thing that, again, it came down to instruction, and both did what they were instructed to do successfully. I mean, they made the movies they were instructed to make very successfully. Except for JJ, because his task was impossible at the end there. You know what I mean? At the end, his task to please everybody was extremely impossible.
Despite where you want to throw the blame, we could just all agree, not a good situation.
Oh no, we all throw the blame at Kathleen, and that's where it goes. You know, it is, and constructively, I'm saying that, not to yell and scream at her and call her a bitch or try to, you know,
better not. get you canceled.
It's not that. It's not a cancellation thing. It's I would rather. I know she's not going anywhere because money wise she's done well, and I know they're not going to fire her. So I want her.
It's only not a cancellation thing if you never plan on working for Disney, motherfucker. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. I don't.
Good.
Technically, but
I should watch what I say. Actually, my fiance really wants to work for Disney. She tells me that every day. So, but the parks, she ain't got no jurisdiction there. Fuck you.
Well, divorces are common, but they
I told her she's not allowed to work for NASA.
Shit, man. SpaceX, right? Only SpaceX.
I trust Elon. She can go work for SpaceX.
Cool. Yeah.
NASA, they're gonna take me out the second they know that I know the moon landing wasn't real, dude. They're gonna make her a double agent. She's gonna kill me in my sleep.
Yeah.
That's totally on par with Star Wars, by the way, guys.
100%. Jose, talk some Star Wars real quick. I'll be right back. So you haven't spoken.
Okay.
Talk about Star Wars. Talk about something you want to bring up, and then we'll bounce off that. I don't care.
Okay.
Try to say something, Jose. I dare you.
All right, I will. Was I say? Well, I guess another thing that I would kind of want to see announced at D23, which I highly doubt is going to happen, is that Thrawn and Maul will be in the Ahsoka series. I highly doubt that's going to happen, but I think that would bring fans back to Star Wars heavily.
Is he done talking about Thrawn and Ahsoka now, so we can move on? All right.
How the fuck did you shut up? But I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, no, look, yeah, I agree, man. Ahsoka needs to hit too. That's the other thing about this. I'll tell you where my worry lies for Ahsoka, and actually, I have more faith in Ahsoka than I do a lot of other projects. But funny enough, as much as I praise him, and I think he really is one of the best things, he's one of Lucasfilm's best employees and strongest employees. Dave Filoni is what worries me about Ahsoka. I know that sounds strange, but the reason why is because he is such a new director when it comes to directing. I'm talking like directing live action, and that's the part that worries me. When you look, his pilot was good for Mandalorian. I really like the pilot of Mandalorian. I thought it was good, and then you go around.
I'm not gonna lie, that opening scene is the most Mandalorian shit ever.
Amazing. I
fucking awesome.
I can rewatch the Mandalorian a lot, like that pilot episode a lot, and it's fun, man. Yeah. It's good, and that was really the first live action we've ever seen him direct, and it was good. It was a good episode. Was it the best one in the series? No, but it was a good episode. It's a really good episode. And then you get around to episode 5. You could see the amateur directing come out in episode 5 of Mandalorian, the Tatooine episode he directed. And what I love about Dave Filoni, and you could see it if you watch those behind the scenes things, the guy is new, but he knows he's new, and he is listening to pros who have done this before. He's absorbing everything they have to give him, and he is learning every step of the way. And we have seen him, I feel like, just get better at directing live action. By the time you get around to the Ahsoka episode of Mandalorian in season 2, I think it's the best episode of Mandalorian yet. And honestly, that's a lot for a new director. But the question becomes, was it a fluke? You know what I mean? Because or does he really? I think that I'm confident in the storytelling skill of Filoni. The storytelling, I'm very confident. I think he'll handle Ahsoka very, very well in the storytelling. But to me, I know that there are going to be a lot of fans that aren't going to give a shit about this. But to me, Star Wars is so much more than just the story. The filmmaking has to reflect it as well, and I think that's what worries me about Filoni taking on. I think Ahsoka is going to be 8 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. I think. And so to me, that's the part that worries me, I think, a little bit more so is him taking on 8 episodes by himself, because this isn't one of those things where he's pulling in other directors to do it. Like, he is directing Ahsoka like Deborah Chow did for Mando. And Deborah Chow's a really good example because she's a really good director. I really think so. When you look at her direct the Mandalorian episodes she did, episodes 3 and episode 7, they're 2 of the best in that whole season, 100% of season 1. But when she goes and plays with Obi-Wan on her own, she has to do all 6 of them. You're starting to see the weaknesses in the amateur level of the new director a little bit more. It's a big task to take on, and I'm having that worry a little bit with Filoni and Ahsoka. I don't know, Jose, what do you think? Do you have that concern for it, or?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe tackling it alone isn't the best idea. Maybe if, Jon Favreau was there to help too, maybe it could do, what Mandalorian did in its own way. Um, so I mean, maybe he will get help from John, who knows, or maybe he already is.
I'm sure he's calling John all the time,
yeah.
and I hope so, because that's the thing that gives me confidence in Ahsoka, is he's always kind of got John to fall back on a little bit, because he can always call him up and
which is why I'm actually confident in this show, is because of the fact that Dave always has John to fall back on if he needs any like advice or help or anything with this show. So that's why I feel like he's not technically alone in this, even though this is technically his, it is Dave Filoni's. I feel like Jon Favreau is always there to help him, and and making sure that this show is its best, and hopefully hitting the mark. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, and John's not as busy anymore since they canceled his Rangers of the New Republic series.
Exactly. So he's got more time. He's got more time on his hands. So
got some time on his hands. Yeah.
So come right over.
Who knows? Dave Filoni may have just called him over to co-direct, like with Mandalorian.
Oh no, it's a really interesting topic you brought up there, Jose. Yeah. So I did want to get like the consensus too from Dave. What do you think of Filoni kind of still being in the amateur level of a live action series? Is that a worry for you?
I think yes, I think he's pretty new to it, but also no, because I just think he dedicates himself to it.
He does.
And that's where I really have faith in it, because I know his heart's gonna be in it. You know that right now, as we're talking about this, he's thinking about it in his brain when he wakes up, when he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
And for that, and having John there, and John's picking up his every fucking call, or at least hearing the voicemails and calling him right back.
Yeah.
And that I have utmost confidence for the show. I'm not gonna lie, I actually don't like Ahsoka much. I don't hate her. I like her character in the past. Where her character is right now, I'm not so much of a fan of. Don't hate it. Not saying I'm not gonna watch the show. I'm gonna like it. I'm just not a big fan of her character.
Yeah,
this is what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and the actress is great, Rosario Dawson.
Great,
she's incredible. She's an amazing actress.
Phenomenal.
I think she's an amazing actress. I think she's perfect. I don't think Ahsoka's bad in The Mandalorian. It's just a thing where I'm not a big fan of her character again. Like, in other words, Dooku. I love Dooku. Dooku is not wrong in his character.
I agree.
In the lore where he's at. I've loved Ahsoka in the past. Mm-hmm. I think where she's at right now, I'm not a big fan of her journey. Their job is, for the diehard Ahsoka fans to keep it going, and for people like me, maybe win me over. I'm always open to it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things. It's like, this was my reaction anyway. It is my favorite episode because Rosario did such a good job as Ahsoka, and I thought they nailed. We talked about this before, how the lightsaber, in terms of the effects of them, haven't been all up to par for me, but I thought in that episode they absolutely were.
And I thought it was really cool seeing.
That was a killer example.
It was really cool looking, seeing white lightsabers too. I thought that was really sick.
Yeah. But that's something, yeah, absolutely. Seeing him in person finally or live action was like a dream for me. So I was all in, and so, because I love that novel too, where she actually obtains the white lightsabers, and I thought that novel was incredible, the Ahsoka novel. And so I think that's something else that we can kind of look at too, to give us hopefully a little bit more faith in Ahsoka, is the fact that Rosario Dawson is a very skilled actress. She's been on a lot of film sets, and I feel like Dave is so collaborative. I feel like that he would even go to her for advice on things, and listen to her, because she is very experienced, she's very skilled, she's been on a lot of sets, and hopefully the filmmaking all kind of reflects that of Ahsoka. I think that's what it needs to be. It's not the storytelling. Ahsoka is Dave's baby, and I know he's going to treat her with the absolute utmost respect.
I don't know if I've just read from a couple of sources, I don't know if they're true or not, but I just read that Jon Favreau is actually executive producer of this show too.
Well, he's going to be an executive producer on all of them. I'm pretty sure he's executive producer on Obi-Wan even. He'll always kind of be there, I think, to take the phone calls or whatever. But yeah, man, but we've seen what his executive producing, how much of an impact that really has. both
How much
Boba Fett
power is there? Yeah.
and like so that's the part
with the
that worries
exception
me.
with the exception of Mandalorian, of course, but
That's directly his creation. That's the difference. You know what I mean? The difference is that's like Mandalorian is directly his creation. Like he's the
well,
actual.
again, this one, I mean, this
Yeah.
one's Dave Filoni, so that's why I have full faith in it.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah.
In terms of the storytelling, 100%. The directing is where I get worried for Dave. That's the only part because I think that again he's still in the amateur level, but
again, I mean, I feel like he'll get directing advice from Jon Favreau because he's just
yeah. Oh yeah.
so good at.
Yeah,
He's
that's
just
what I'm
so.
saying. It's a catch-22. Yeah, because he will, but he's.
That's
still,
why I have. That's
yeah.
that's again why I have full faith because I feel like any directing problems that Dave Filoni will have, he'll always just turn back to Jon Favreau.
I mean, the teaser aired at Celebration, and that got really good reaction from people. You know, so I mean, it wasn't much. But
and I've seen it. I think I don't know if it's still
I've
up or if it's down, but I mean, it looked amazing. So
yeah, it did look really good. I just you're right, and even you're right, and not just. Even from the little bit we got, I could tell that Dave is really working on framing shots and things like that a little bit better. So I do hope that definitely is reflective. One more thing we got to get to before we go. I almost forgot the Obi-Wan
documentary.
Yeah, we got to talk.
I'm actually pretty excited for.
Me
honestly,
too.
Given what we've gotten with this show, I'm actually really excited for this doc.
Yeah, it's Phantom Menace to me is still the worst Star Wars movie. I love the making of documentary of that. I think it's phenomenal. It is one of the best docs they put out. It's that one. And even people who didn't like The Last Jedi, I know, love that Director and Jedi documentary. They think it's fascinating. It's they behind the scenes is always awesome.
Is that
So,
did we
The
watch
movie
that one?
can suck. Behind the scenes is great.
Yeah, it's always great.
Did we watch that one, Dom, you and I? The Last Jedi one?
We did, yeah.
Oh,
We
that
did.
was phenomenal.
That was
absolutely,
phenomenal. That was the one we watched,
loved
yeah.
it. Yeah, it was so good.
It's so good, and
it is so good.
it's
I just
true.
love watching. I love watching the makings of behind the scenes of everything of anything.
Yeah.
Star Wars, Marvel, anything really, because it's just you see the process that goes through making all this stuff, and it's just amazing.
When we're talking these major productions, it's especially where it gets so interesting to me.
You get to see the people that just pour their heart out for
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
that's what I really love is that
and the people that actually
like I said, even if The Last Jedi sucks in your opinion, the people that worked on it, there's some people that probably don't really give shit actually, but there are definitely the people there that just fucking love it.
Yeah.
And they are so fucking good at what they do. And that's the thing that's I mean, you can see it on the small level, dude. I go to Galaxy's Edge, and when I'm looking at how they make everything there, I'm just going, somebody had a fucking blast setting up this cave system.
Yeah.
Somebody fucking went ham on this. They had the best fucking time of their life putting this shit together.
Yeah.
And that's the best part of the behind the scenes is you can watch it on a movie that's big budget, but you absolutely fucking hate. But then you still get the respect there of the people behind the scenes that poured their fucking hearts into it.
Absolutely.
And that's where, like you say, like I said, The Last Jedi looks fucking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see the people that put that together.
Yeah. And that's what makes me so excited for this Obi-Wan thing.
And I understand too now, especially now more than ever, the sheer amount of effort and time that goes into this shit because of the classes that this summer class especially that I took, where I actually got to learn how to set all this shit up. I could just imagine for big production movies like these, just how much fucking time and effort and just blood, sweat, and tears go into this shit. And it just makes me appreciate this industry just that much more.
Yeah. And sometimes you do find like there's little nuggets like, again, like I even watched the Rise of Skywalker documentary, the making of. I think it's great because it does like kind of go back and show you a lot of it's a very well made documentary that goes back and shows you a lot of the old style of production that George used to do and how they kind of carried that forward. And that kind of helps me appreciate certain things. There are certain practical effects that I didn't even realize were done as practically as they were in Rise of Skywalker. Like, number one, when they're going through the quicksand, they actually went through sand. Like, they dug a hole and they use like all these like black beans and stuff to put them through. It's so fascinating. And so things like that, or when Ray did her flip
I love
over
that
the thigh.
shit because that's my thing, dude. The fucking set designs, the contraptions that they make. That's the one that I saw in the Rise of Skywalker. I was gonna say I didn't see the Last Jedi one. I would 100%.
You should watch it. It's really good.
Yeah,
man.
It is really good.
There's a few that I haven't seen. I've seen the Phantom Menace. I've seen, Maybe that's one that nobody likes.
The Phantom Menace.
Attack of the Clones behind
Oh,
the scenes.
the Phantom Menace. The Phantom
We
Menace
stood in front of
one
the
is my
green
favorite.
screen for a very long time, but yeah, the Phantom Menace is fucking excellent.
That's my
Which
favorite
again is a
one.
movie that I think everyone here hates
Right.
that fucking movie.
Oh,
But
100%.
behind the scenes is fucking excellent.
But even with that, what cracks me up is like you can see George screening it with all the people and they're all falling asleep for the first time, like when he's screening it with his crew, and then George just going, I think I went a little far in a few places. Like, so even there you get to see how a movie was kind of fell apart in a way. Like, it does show that. It
Hey, he still
narrates it.
released that shit anyways.
But my favorite part, and I get goosebumps every time though, because I do remember going to see the Phantom Menace as a kid and how packed out it was, and so my favorite part of that doc is at the end, and it's like the opening night, and like they have it in this big theater, and the theater owner like walks in just looking at this packed house, and like he hasn't seen this in years, like how packed that was for Phantom Menace, and he just like he gets up in front of that crowd, and it's so funny to me because it's parents with their kids, and you know, it's like, and they're all dressed up and so stoked about this thing, and this theater owner gets up in front of the stage and he just goes, this is fucking awesome, and like everybody just went nuts, like, and then the movie started up. It's so cool to see. And just seeing that like light in that theater owner's eyes, like I haven't seen this since, I think he even said in the doc like he hadn't seen a packed house like this since Return of the Jedi came out back in the day, because he was an older dude. And so like but the other thing though, like it's like Phantom Menace and then The Last Jedi doc is like right under there for me. Like that one just
yeah, that Last Jedi doc is just
they
phenomenal.
really went through and showed each step of that the same way.
The
Phantom
worst
Menace
movies
did.
really try to cover their ass with how hard it works. That's what I'm
Well,
learning.
yeah, because you gotta buy the Blu-rays.
Man,
'cause
this
you need
movie
the
sucks.
docs.
We better really fucking show people how hard we work, so that they think we did something here.
You gotta buy the Blu-rays, dude. You gotta. That's the gimmick, I guess. But no, look, and then you know, I loved in Phantom Menace too. I'm kind of reminiscing over these docs because they're so good. But in Phantom Menace, you actually get to see the phone call that was made to Ewan McGregor, where he signed on to do Obi-Wan. Like that stuff is just so cool, and like how excited they were that they got Ewan McGregor, because they didn't think they were going to get him, because he was doing movies like Train Spotting and stuff like that, you know. And they were like, "There's no way he's going to do this movie." And the fact
I remember watching a video about Ewan McGregor talking about that too, how he like when he got the call. It was Ewan McGregor and Hayden doing an interview about Obi-Wan, and it was Ewan talking. It was both of them talking about how they got the call to be those characters, and how they were just so surprised and thrilled to get that call and actually be able to play these characters, and how much they've loved playing those characters.
Yeah. Well, what got Ewan McGregor to do it, and a lot of people might not know this, is his uncle was Wedge in the original.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that he said that too.
Yeah,
in the interview.
His uncle told him to do it, or actually, I think his uncle told him not to do it. And somehow that like inadvertently he did. He told him not to do it, and then that somehow inadvertently talked him into doing it. He's like,
that's the next thing I'm trying to buy is Wedge's helmet.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, they're selling it in the gaming store. Man, I hope they don't watch this. They're gonna come be like, bitch, come over and buy it.
You gotta
the
pick up
gaming
those.
store right next to me has the Wedge Antilles helmet. There, I was like, shit.
You gotta pick up those Aftermath novels if you like Wedge. Like honestly, like get them in. I'm telling you,
I've got them.
Yeah, we all need to like read them one by one, and like
you got everything now, Jose. Holy shit.
Bro, I've got 52 Legends books.
That's what I'm saying. You showed me. I was like, holy fuck, you have everything.
Yeah, he's got all the Legends books pretty much, and then although there's
look, and I'm thanking one of my dad's best friends for that, because he was the one who had this whole collection in Ecuador, just collecting dust. Like, here, if you're gonna take care of them, take them. I was like, I will take a very good care of them, and
I'll protect them with my life.
And they're actually like, considering how old they are, they're actually in like still very good condition.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm giving these, and I'm fucking passing these down to my kids. Are gonna become
them with your fucking life.
I'm passing them down to my kids. My kids are gonna become Star Wars fans. I don't give a fuck.
I will honestly, if the three of us can do this though, like I will go back and reread the Aftermath novels, like just reviews on each of them. Yeah,
I haven't been reading. I haven't been reading any books lately, but now after talking about how you say the Andor just reminds you of the Aftermath.
It does so
books.
much, man.
I just want to just go and like read these 3 books now.
Well, that way, at least if Andor sucks, it's like at least we have those. Like,
True.
Like at least the 3 of us got to experience that together. Like if Andor sucks,
True.
at the end of the day. Yeah. But no, I foresee watch parties with Andor. I mean, we'll all probably watch it individually, but like I foresee us wanting to get together and like I hope it's that Star Wars again, where we all want to get together and just watch it together, just a second time around at least, because we loved it that much. Like, I remember
Disney's got the sync up, right?
They have the watch party thing, yeah, that you can do.
That's what I mean. So we all got.
Well, then I'm down for some first times on that shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm down for first views with you guys. Forget rewatches.
Hell yeah.
If it's looking good at the start here, let's fucking follow it up together.
Hell yeah, for sure, man. And I remember this is kind of this takes me back a little bit, because I say I want it to be that Star Wars where we all get together and we get excited and we want to watch it together. Like, I hope it is that good. I remember when Rogue One was coming out, and I was very skeptical about Rogue One. I think a lot of people were at the time, even though it looked
I was, for sure.
Yeah, because it was away from everything.
Yeah.
You were sleeping during Rogue One?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I didn't feel any sort of way other than, oh, cool, Star Wars. Oh, shit, I fell asleep.
But I remember just being skeptical. But my one of my best friends, who you know of, Adam, or Jose, is Adam.
Oh, yeah, Adam, yeah.
And he went to go see Rogue One, and I said, "How's the movie?" And he said, "He honestly, it's his favorite Star Wars movie ever till this day." Adam.
The fuck?
So, yeah, I know, but that's how he feels about it. He said it's my favorite.
I sent you the pictures of the goosebumps I got.
Yeah,
I literally sent you. I was like, dude, I got goosebumps from this movie. Holy shit.
Well, this is how I've learned to judge a Star Wars movie, and this is what I asked Adam. I said, "Am I going to go home and put on A New Hope when I'm done?" And he said yes. And I said, okay. And so,
and that's exactly what you did.
100%, man. 100%.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. The first time I'm one of those that was converted. At first, I didn't like the movie that much, but then after rewatching it a couple of times, I was like, God damn, this movie.
I know
amazing.
A lot of people like that though too. I know Dave was like, I think everybody agrees, but there's still a select few that I've tried to convert over to Rogue One fandom that I'm like, damn it, they just won't come over because they haven't liked the movie. You know, it's like, damn. And they.
I was strictly speaking for the like prequels. In terms of Rogue One, I'm gonna be honest. I remember leaving that theater and waking up finally, and everyone was really fucking mixed on it.
Yeah,
that was a movie where people were mixed. Like, I was in a group of like 6 friends. We're all like best friends at the time in high school. Yeah. We all got along great, pretty much like liked all the same things, and half of us were saying different things. And then they looked at me. And I was like, dude, I was fucking passed out. I don't know what the fuck just happened.
I remember after Last Jedi came out. This is. My friend's going to get so mad at me for telling this story because he swears to this day it's not true. So I met one of my really good friends, Keaton, right? And when I met him, we both found out, we connected big time because we both found out we were both Star Wars fans. And Last Jedi had just freshly come out and stuff. And I was a big fan of it. And he was like, yeah, dude, I'll never forget. He's like, I'll never forget that experience. He's like, I love that movie. It's one of the best. I don't care what anybody tells me. And everybody has the right to change their mind. But what makes me mad is when you change your mind and then you pretend like you never liked it, you know? Like there's a big difference, you know, and changing your mind and rewriting history, which he does, and he swears to God he never told me that. And I'm like, dude, that's like how we fucking bonded and became friends, is because we both actually liked this movie when a lot of people didn't. And like, he swears that's not how it happened, but I know it is. I know it in my heart. That's exactly what he said. Anyway, fast forward a little bit. This has to do with Rogue One more. And like, at the time it was true, because like he started to convert to really disliking Last Jedi, like really hating it, to the point where now he's just pissed off about it. When you like, dude, I really don't want to become a channel that talks about other YouTubers, but go watch other YouTubers' reviews of Last Jedi who now claim they hate it. Watch Star Wars Theory's review of Last Jedi. Like, it's funny to me because he loved the movie.
I don't think I've ever met someone who has hated The Last Jedi as much as one of the guys I became friends with in my summer class. I think I told you. This guy literally has a shirt that says The Last Jedi is not canon.
Yeah.
that's how much he hates that movie.
Yeah.
He just has it in his head that it's not canon.
I've convinced myself that the sequels aren't canon.
That's fine.
And that's not because I hate every single second of it either. I just think it's better to just pretend it never happened. You know?
Let them exist how you want to let them exist, but
yeah,
I don't care about that.
Done with now.
I don't like the rewriting history that we've seen.
No, I'm big on that. I stand by what I say, and if I do change my mind, there's no shame in it.
Yeah.
If I change my mind, it's for a reason. Be able to articulate your reason and don't lie.
Yeah, I was
Like
actually
that's
really
Last
thrilled.
Jedi's one that I straight up told Adriana. That's you can ask her. The second I left the theater,
Yeah.
as we're walking out, I looked at her and I said, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, no, it's fine.
That was my initial thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's fine. That's why like I know like last week maybe I got a little oversensitive because Jose kind of turned his back on Doctor Strange or the way he did, and then like maybe I got a little oversensitive about it at the time. It's honestly because so many people have rewritten history with me on their opinions, and it's like all I want you to do is just admit that you said that you did like it, and like just try to explain to me what happened. And Jose, on the other hand, was very honest, and so I'm giving him a lot of credit here. He was very honest. He was like, "Well, I rewatched it and changed my mind." Okay, I don't care. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. You know, like I can't tell you how many times my mind's changed on the movie, but I'll never go back on. Hey, I liked it at one point, you know, or something like that. Or when I first saw it, I thought it was great. Look at how I was talking about Rise of Skywalker. When I saw it, I really liked it. I'm not gonna lie about that. Anyway, or I really loved it actually. Now I'm just at the like part of it. But anyway, so going back, this all had to do with Rogue One. So my friend, we were in the store and he picks up the Rogue One Blu-ray. He was like, "This is the best Star Wars movie ever. Everybody knows that." And I'm like, nobody's ever said that. You are on so cloud nine. You're trying to like find anything.
No one has ever said that ever.
You have done a complete 180 from where you were at when I met you. And I hate that he still to this day will not tell me that he ever liked Last Jedi. Like, you're allowed to admit it, man. You know?
I mean, I can understand people saying it's the best of the Disney Star Wars movies, but definitely not the best Star Wars movie ever.
Yeah, it was just like I swear to God.
I've had people tell me that it's the best Star Wars movie that Disney's done, which I can see, honestly. I mean, I have Rogue One and Last Jedi like right there.
Yeah, I know you have a lot of respect for Rogue One. I do too, man. I have problems with the movie, but I don't think it's perfect, but I also I don't know. Like I think Andor could fix a lot of that for me. I think some of my problems Andor actually has a lot of potential to fix.
Yeah,
and it's the same way. It's the same way that the Clone Wars. I don't love the prequels yet, but like it's fixed a lot of the storytelling in the prequels for me.
All thanks to Dave.
Has fixed a lot of that for me. So yeah, man, it's been really interesting just kind of going through this journey of this fandom, the ups and downs, and just it's weird, man. We're in a weird time for Star Wars fans. We really are, because we go from like real high and just, you know, on
Plummet.
top of the world. And
it makes me think I was a Potterhead or something, and I could just be like, let's just go get some butterbeer and talk about why your house is a bitch and mine is mean.
Yeah.
simple brained people, you know.
I know. I really wish that things were
cultured swine.
I wish things were that simple. I'm so tired of the hate, but like, no, man. I hate the rewriting history. I think that's also been extremely toxic in fandom too. And that's not to say like, I'm not pointing out Star Wars Theory specifically. It's just funny how you listen to his review. He actually has said he changed his mind. So I give him credit too. He's another one that's been
funny.
very honest.
Never listened to those videos of his, so that's something.
Go back.
That I never
go listen to his review. It'll surprise you.
I never listened to his reviews of any of the Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
his videos that I watch are usually like the deep lore stuff he does, or like his own original content. So I'll have to check those out for sure.
He's a phenomenal creator. I would never give him shit because I think he's been very straight up.
He's a nice
and very
guy.
Honest. He seems like a very nice guy. Yeah,
he's a really cool dude. I feel bad about all the backlash. I mean, if you're gonna like. What you're doing is like a literal, logical critique that you're doing. It's constructive criticism, if anything.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for the people that were actually assholes to him and shit.
Yeah, like go back to Dom's Corner. We spent a whole hour defending the guy when he was receiving a lot of his backlash, and we did he was the thumbnail of the video at the time when we did that episode. I mean, we support Star Wars Theory around here. I think the guy's really.
I really do like his videos. He's a really cool guy.
He does. He makes really good content. But so he
Quick
wasn't
shout
on
Angry Joe show.
But like let's
just not. Angry Joe's a guy, bro.
Fair enough. I like Angry Joe too. I think he's
love to him too.
I think he's good at what he does. But the other one that I would point out though, this is real toxic is Mike Zero. You go back to Mike Zero's Last Jedi review, and he'll never admit that he liked Last Jedi. He'll never admit it, and he really, maybe in person, off camera, but in his videos he'll never admit it. And I've seen plenty of things like that where a lot of people have been like, yeah, they put out these reviews. It's weird to me how the reviews were coming out initially great, and then a lot of people turned back, and it's so weird to me because look, I'm not trying to make this a diatribe about YouTubers. It's just I don't think it helps this toxic fandom when people rewrite history the way they do, and it's unfortunate. And even like Theory, his video on Rise of Skywalker, he loved it, and you know, like, and I'm not saying that again he's responsible, because again I think he's done a great job at what he's done and being honest about his opinions, but it's just things like that really upset me. Or the other one was who's actually I think is a really good content creator and gives really good arguments for his stuff with Star Wars is Thor Skywalker. But I also think he's made a lot of content that's added to the toxicity, and sometimes I like have to tune out because it's like, dude, you're really adding to the toxicity on this one. And a lot of his reviews the same thing. His Last Jedi review, extremely positive, and he's kind of turned. And then you have like other guys that are like have come out and admitted, which is not helping, that they're making toxic videos because it gets hits. And that's the other thing that really bothers me about Star Wars fandom is like, you have guys that have come out and admitted, yeah, we're not going to stop making toxic videos. We're not going to stop making Fire Kathleen Kennedy videos or Fire Ryan Johnson videos or things like that. It hits, you know? And it's like, doesn't matter the logic, it hits. And it's
Mike
like
Zero every 4 hours, dude. That's fucking...
You got to have a career. I get
Daisy
it, but...
Ridley and Kathleen Kennedy boxed in the parking lot of studio.
I just think
it's just ridiculous.
I
I have zero respect for that man.
Oh
Everyone else we name shouted, I have respect for. Mike Zero's trash. Dude.
You know the sad...
I wish the man no ill will in his life.
I know, me either, because
but
he's made a living.
Fucked up content.
I agree.
I hope he tripping. I hope he trips and falls in acid. I'm just kidding.
But the sad part about it
no, I'm
is,
kidding.
For 3 whole hours, I believe that, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
But I think a lot of these people felt like they got stuck though, and the sad part about it is like Mike Zero used to make real good Star Wars content. Like he used to make content that came from passion, and it's irritating to me. Like he really did.
Now he just jumps on the bandwagon.
It's the bandwagon, man, and a lot of people feel like they have to do it to get the hits, and like I guess this is just a message to YouTubers that are doing that. Like, stop. You guys were so much better, I promise you, as creators when you were making passionate content.
Yeah, they're not gonna care, bro. They're just gonna keep doing what makes them gets them views and makes them money.
Star Wars Theory aside, I think he's honest. You know, I think he's very honest. I think that's he's really kind of figured out a way to be the exception, I think, to dislike the sequels, but also be very fair and very honest about it. Like, there's not a lot of people like that anymore on the internet who can actually come out and be honest. And sure, he receives a lot of backlash for it, but he also, in the long run, I think it's helped his channel, right? Because, I mean, he is still the biggest Star Wars YouTuber at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how honest he is. And and if somebody changes his mind on something, he's willing to go out there and say it. I just saw his new channel, the Star Wars Theory Plus he put out, where somebody literally changed his mind on the Luke Skywalker scene in Last Jedi, where he was holding up the lightsaber to Kylo Ren. Like, he was doing an interview with an author like a long time ago, but he clipped it out specifically, put it on his channel about how he changed his mind, you know, and I thought that was really cool and decent of him to be like, yeah, this changes my whole perspective on that moment in Last Jedi, you know. So I don't know. We're ranting now, but look, let's wrap it up. We're hitting 2 hours here. This is fun, man. I'm so glad we all three got to get back together, talk some Star Wars finally. Dave finally made it over to Imperial Order for an episode. Yeah. So that's always nice and refreshing.
I've been stuck in Star Wars for 2 days, man. I'm going to go to sleep and have PTSD nightmares about the fucking First Order after me and shit after this.
That's awesome.
This has been a fun podcast, man.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. It's always my favorite to do. It's just the problem is timing, and we just don't have the right amount of time. But I do want to keep it alive and let the folks know this is still existent. It's not something that we ever abandoned. It was just timing and
never stopped liking Star Wars. We promise.
100%. Yeah. And Jose just brought it to my attention the other day. Like, that thing's like dead now. It's like, yeah, I don't want it to be dead.
I mean, yeah, the last videos that we posted for this podcast was the Star Wars Celebration stuff.
Yeah, and I never wanted it to be dead. I never wanted to just
really solid videos.
Which I was about to say, which have gotten us. I was gonna say we've gotten videos with views on there.
Absolutely, man. And then so like I don't think like I'm not a believer in like once you're going up the ladder, stop, you know, like just keep going, you know. So like let's keep going. And And,
Yeah, I mean, Dom and I always say this. Like this is like the podcast that
It's
we're
fun,
always
man.
just the most excited to do because it's just what we're so passionate about and what we just know so much about.
I just
honestly.
never feel like we have to stick to anything here. That's the fun thing, because there is so much about. Dave was kind of talking earlier. This Star Wars galaxy is so vast. You know, there's so much to kind of dive into, and we don't have to stick to anything. We have topics that we'll kind of throw out in the beginning and be like, well, let's try to hit these, but let's talk about these together because they're fun to talk about. But we're never really sticking to a schedule. We're just kind of, it's like
Let
a
it
party.
all come to us.
It's like a party, man. It's fun, man. It's a party
Just
with your friends.
do it.
Hell yeah.
Nike.
No, we're not plugging Nike here.
Oh, okay.
Shia LaBeouf.
Just do it.
He should be cast in Star Wars.
100%.
Put him in with Ezra Miller, maybe. No,
Oh god! Oh god! Oh god!
It'd take a lot of the heat off Ryan Johnson, I'll tell you that right now.
Jesus!
He's directing. Oh shit!
What
Oh my
did
god!
that
The
movie
perfect trio.
that movie came out, Ryan Johnson would put out a tweet immediately, being like, "Thank God!" Like if they did a Shia LaBeouf Ezra Miller movie, he'd be like, "Oh my gosh, thank you, take the heat off me, get it off." All right.
Oh man!
All right, guys. Look, that's it. Before we go, Dave, where can people find you? Thank you for coming on.
You can find me at the Twitter calling Ryan Johnson a Elmo lookalike at B King David, and also on Instagram at B King David. I'm not gonna lie. I like the dude as a person is a nice guy. He really is. I have nothing against him personally, even though he ruined Star Wars for me that one movie. But he looks just like Elmo. You can't deny that. That's not an insult. Elmo is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Maybe we'll I don't know, maybe we'll do a watch along for that Director and the Jedi thing for our next one. I don't know. We'll just...
Of Elmo?
No, yeah, of Elmo. Yeah. All right.
Can Danny Glover be there?
Maybe.
You mean Childish Gambino?
Maybe.
Donnie Glover, idiot.
If he doesn't get called up for Lando, we'll figure something out. Jose
Mr. Miller,
thank you for being on again, my dude. Where can people find you?
Of course. You can find me on all socials at Type 1 Latino, all lowercase all together, and also follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Type 1 Latino.
All right, you guys can find me on Twitter at Dom_Martino_, on Instagram Dom_Martino_official, and please follow the Anorex pages on Twitter and Instagram at Anorex Official on both platforms. And make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, hit the bell for notifications. We will try to put out Imperial Order more often. And if you haven't done so already, please go follow us on Spotify. This episode will also exist over there. So very important for you audio listeners. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I hope everybody has a good night, and we'll talk to you guys later.
See you.